function FA?
Yeah. Whoa.
You tell I'm in a cube all day. I don't give presentations.
Function FA should work and make it recognizable.
Function FA?
Did you have that?
No.
Oh, please.
It did something. I don't know if it's what we wanted.
Might take a second.
Should I be rolling yet, or?
All set?
Yep.
All right, welcome everybody to the second edition of our Hooks at Help High School Education Lifts People group meeting. As we always will start every meeting, just kind of go around the room, quick introductions, who you are, maybe where you come from. You know, we kind of we try to learn from every meeting. Last meeting we all started getting into why we're here, and you know, we started talking about the issues that we wanted to talk about. And we actually have a section of our meeting where we'll do that, open forum discussion. So you can just save that part to later on. We'll kind of keep our flow of our meeting going. So right now it's just so everybody knows who you are, and maybe they've heard about you before, and maybe they haven't, and you can tell them where you live. Maybe that might help. I'm John Liscars. I live on the other side of the river, on Hackett Hill Road. Got a son that's in 8th grade right now, getting ready to get into high school. I've got one that graduated, is attending UNH right now. He graduated from West High School.
I'm Tom Lazat, Town Council at District 1. I live over on Post. I've got a kid in 3rd and 7th. Collie and Hunter, or Memorial.
Yep. Hi, I'm Kim Ryan. I have Joshua, who's a 7th grader at Collie, and Matthew, who's a 5th grader at Memorial, and Christopher, who has autism and is a 3rd grader just starting at Memorial.
Amy Bollard. I live on Marcel Way, up off the bypass. I have a 2010 graduate of Central. I have a senior at Central, and I have a 6th grader at Memorial who wants to go to Central.
Alyssa L. I have 3 children, Jacob an 8th grader, Joshua 6th grader, and Katie 8th grader.
Phil Denbo, live on Nancy Lane, 2 kids. Daughter Christina went to Central, was at Middlebury this year, and my son Zach was in 8th grade. And this would be my wife.
I live at the same place and I have the same kids as he does, so.
Jen Legier on 65 Lindsay. We have an 8th grader and a 6th grader.
Mark, it's you.
It's you, Mark, not me.
Wait a minute, now Mark has to step out from behind the camera.
Mark Neville, videographer.
I'm Trisha Corcus. I'm school board member, and I have 2 10-year-olds in 5th grade.
I'm Stacy Berry. I live on Nancy Lane, and I have 3 children, 8th grader, 6th grader, and 1st grader.
Steve Castor from Sergeant Drive. I have an 8th grader with autism and a 5th grader with autism.
I'm Chrissy Castor. I'm his wife. I was raised in Hooksett. I went through all Hooksett schools, and I went through Manchester School as well.
My name is Lynn Cody. I live on West River Road. I have 3 children. One graduated last year and is attending RIT. I have a junior at West High, and I have a freshman at West High.
I'm Tammy Hooker. I live on Granite Street. I have an 8th grader and a 7th grader.
All right, great. So everybody, welcome. Great to have you here. Invite your friends, anybody with kids, but they don't have to have kids. If they're a taxpayer in Hooksett, this issue is very important to them because Hooksett taxpayers, whether they have kids or not, are spending money on high school education for our high school students, age students. So no matter where our kids are going, the taxpayers are paying for it. So when you talk to your neighbors and your friends, talk about the value they're getting for their tax dollar. Everybody's always concerned about that, where they spend their money. Are they getting quality education for what they're spending their money on? So it's a very common core issue that we're all here about. So I've got on the agenda, if you take a look at it, just some bullet items along with the main topics, just some approximate times to keep us on track. Doesn't mean we can't float under that or over that, but it just kind of gives you a sense of how the meeting should flow. So if we get deep into some subject, feel free to raise your hand and say, hey, I think we're going a little long on this, and we can always table something, bring it up at the next meeting, because the bottom line is you all are busy people. We are all busy people. We work. This is our own time, and so we want to make sure we use this time well, and we try to accomplish as much as we can in the short amount of time we have. We also don't want to lengthen it out. You know, we're 6 to 8, that's 2-hour block of time. We don't want to be going 6 to 9, 6 to 10, okay? Because you guys have kids or you have family you want to get home to, so we want to be very conscientious about that. So we might as well get right into it. We'll start with some up-down voice votes on some of the things you've seen me talking about that's posted on our website. Kind of defines what our group is about. You're all part of the group because you're here. One thing I've said is just because somebody doesn't have a computer or a Facebook account does not limit them from joining this group. Now, their participation may be limited because they can't see all the discussions that go on Facebook, but they could come to the library, use a computer, get on with a Facebook account. Some people are just hesitant. I was very hesitant about creating a Facebook account. I did so for the Booster Club at West. It was the only way we could generate a free site for the Booster Club. So you can't create a site as the Booster Club. You have to create a site as yourself, and then you can create groups off of that. So it's one of the things about Facebook I'm not crazy about, but I understand the security measures and all that. So if you can't get somebody over that hurdle of making a Facebook account just to get into the group, you know, tell them don't worry about it. They can come to our face-to-face meetings, have their points heard during our general discussion time. So I just want to do simple voice votes about, we'll go topic by topic. You're looking at right now, everybody's got one in their hand, a meeting agenda. Meeting agendas are what keep meetings flowing. It lets everybody know ahead of time. I'll try to get one out, or whoever is doing the meeting has got to get one out about a day in advance, so everybody at least has a chance to review it and say, I think we're missing this. It's an important topic. Can you add that in? So don't be afraid to ask to put something on. We can always squeeze it in. We'll figure out a way. It gives a chance for everybody to review, to know what's coming up, because maybe something that we're going to be talking about the next meeting isn't that important to you, but the next meeting it might be. So look at the agendas. That tells you what we're going to talk about. And we'll try to stick to that as much as we can. So voice vote, and if it's a close vote, then we'll do a vote count. Does everybody approve of the meeting agenda as far as keeping our meetings flowing, regulation? And if you vote against, and we generally vote against something, we have to come up with the alternative. So if we say, everybody in the room says, no, we don't want to do a meeting agenda, we have to be prepared then to talk about what is the alternative so we can move forward, okay? That's just little ground rules. So just a voice vote is everybody in favor of a meeting agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, nay. Okay, so the ayes have it. We'll continue to have a meeting agenda every time we have a face-to-face meeting. What I'm doing right now, I mean, I created this group, you know, a week and a half ago. So by default, I'm the moderator. I just appointed myself that, but you know, I really don't have any more power than any of you. Doesn't matter what you do for work or if you even work. You're here at this table because you're concerned about where Hooksit's spending their money, and you're concerned about the future of your kids. So every one of us has an equal voice at the table. Anybody in this room can be a moderator. You can sit here and moderate the meeting. You can make up an agenda. I don't have any problem with that because we're at the time now, we're only 2 weeks in. We're very new at this, but I think there's enough people involved where we can now spread the wealth around. We already kind of did that by proxy. We've nominated, or I've kind of appointed a couple of other moderators, but this is to get your input now. So the style of our meeting is a meeting moderator, kind of what I'm doing right now, or freestyle. That's where there's no moderator, and we just all talk whenever we want. We just kind of let it flow, okay? So there's just basically 2 ways, and then maybe there's a third way, I don't know. But the way I'm proposing is a meeting moderator, just to kind of keep the flow of the meeting going. So we'll just start there. All in favor of a meeting moderator approach to our meetings? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Okay, so we have 1 opposed, the majority takes it. So we're going to have the meeting moderator style. So the meeting moderator approved. Now we want to appoint, if you will, officially meeting moderators. I never really asked Tracy, and I'm not sure Tracy's not even here.
So she's it. She's not here, we signed her up.
Well,
I'm sure she's running late.
Yeah, we'll vote for her and then we'll ask her later when she comes in.
Yeah.
But you know, I volunteer. Tammy, I kind of volunteered you, but
I saw that, thank you.
would you want to be appointed? Is that
Oh, a meeting moderator, okay.
a moderator? So So
task.
what does the moderator do? He does what I'm doing right now. He or she does what I'm doing, but they also have Facebook privileges. And if I could get the monitor working, I'll show you what that means. But basically, our group on Facebook is an open group. You can have two types of groups. You can have an open group where all of you can allow people to join our group, or you can leave it all up to the moderator or the owner, if you will, of the group. I don't personally think that's the right way to go. I think we all own this group, and if you want to have your friend join the group, then it's up to you to say, hey, I can not only ask you to join, when you request it, I can go in and approve you to join. So I'd like to keep it that way. That way you all have some control in this. One limitation we did find is when you want to send to all the people in the group, you have to be an admin of the group. So Tracy found that out because she tried to send an announcement about something, maybe the meeting, and it only went out to 60 people. So we didn't know what it was, and just Google it. Hey, we aren't getting all of our emails out. How do we do it? And they said, yeah, you got to be an admin to send it to all the people in your group. So that's why I appointed Tracy and Tammy as admin. So the moderator does this, and they also have admin privileges on our group site. Okay, so you know what you're voting for. So I would like the opportunity to do it for you, but again, it's up to you. If you don't want me and you just want Tracy and Tammy, that's fine too. So we'll go with me first. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, so I'll accept that responsibility whenever we need. Tracy here, we'll vote for her now and then we'll ask her later. All in favor of Tracy, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Tammy Hooker here, I can vouch for her, good woman. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, so Tammy is also an admin. So now we're going to open up to the floor. Does anybody else like to be an admin to the group, have this responsibility and also admin privileges on our group site? And if you don't tonight, and at a later time you're thinking about it, you'd like to do it, just shoot us an email or any one of us. We'll bring it up just like we did tonight, put it out to the members. If everybody says, yeah, you're in. Now, we may want to consider as we go putting a limitation on the numbers. That's up to the group. If we want to say, hey, we don't want to have more than 5 people doing it because it gets kind of odd. I suggest we keep an odd number because if we ever have any instances where admins have to make a decision, let's say somebody starts dropping F-bombs at our meeting and we say, we don't want that here, and you're breaking one of our rules. So somebody has to say, stop doing that. If you don't stop, we're going to kick you off. And then take the action. So I would recommend we have more than one person, because right now we only have one. We'll have 3, and I say you keep it at an odd number, and the majority rules. So if Tammy and Tracy say, yeah, we want to boot this person out, and I said, no, I think we can give them another chance. If I get outruled, that's the way it goes, majority rules. Is everybody, that sound decent? Okay.
Point of information.
Yes.
So you were saying that the administrators or the moderators are the only ones who can send out messages on the Facebook page.
No. Anybody here can post on our
Okay,
page.
so if somebody posts, all 300 members read that post, right?
They read that post,
Okay.
yeah. But if you wanted to send, I think it has to do with events. So this meeting is an event on Facebook. If you wanted to send a posting about your event, a message out, that's where it gets into this restriction. So,
I'm not asking to be one, I just have a couple questions.
yeah.
So if you're on your individual Facebook and you want to invite friends, you can invite them, but then you approve them or they're automatic?
You can approve them.
Okay.
I don't know, to be honest with you, I really don't know. And just so everybody knows here, I am not a power Facebook user.
Okay.
Usually if any of you ask me a question, all I do is I go to Google, I ask the question to Google, and it comes up. It's that straightforward. I've seen a lot of requests come through, so you folks are inviting people, and what happens, and I don't know if you see this from your viewpoint, but it comes up and says, so-and-so would like to join this group, and it says approve. Do you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay, so when you see that, you can hit approve from now on, just so you know. All of us have that power. You don't have to wait for one of us or myself to do it. You have that power to approve a member, okay? The only restrictions, we'll get into that later, that I put out there is that we don't have kids on here. I just don't think this is a forum for kids. Now, when I say kids, I mean anybody under 18. So a lot of our kids are in college. To me, they're adults. They're welcome to join in, because right now I'm trying to gather input from our graduates that have graduated from not only Manchester schools, but if there's any that have graduated from the surrounding schools that we're all talking about. It'd be great to get some real input from people who went there, you know. So best way to do that, get their input and let them fly, you know, with a few just simple restrictions. We'll get into that later. So the next thing, MCD. So Todd took some guesses at the meeting control device, and I wanted to actually make it nice and fancy, but unfortunately I couldn't. So this is a simple meeting control device, right here. And this will be like when we get into our general discussion, but basically if you want the floor, you know, it's like this. So if Todd's got the floor, Todd's talking. Todd's holding the media control device, okay? So now Lynn Denbo's got something to say. And she puts her hand up, but her husband Phil, they both have something to say. You know, Todd's going to give one of them the floor, but they can't both talk at the same time. So it's a simple tool, and it's effective, because
he's gonna throw the football to me.
he'll throw it, or if you don't feel comfortable catching it, now we'll get
And if
past
I don't catch it, I don't get the floor.
No, you get the floor. We'll give you time to pick it up. So it's a very simple thing. You can pass the football around if you don't feel comfortable catching it. But it's just, basically, if you hold the football, you've got the floor. Okay, so it's just a simple thing.
You know, because if we were dating, I would actually give it to her first, but we're married, so I take it.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. So anyway, I'm just introducing it. If you don't think we need it, then we can vote it down. If you think we can try it out and see how we like it. If we don't like it, that's fine. What I think we need to avoid, though, is a room full of people all trying to make their points at the same time, and the loudest or the strongest person pushing their point wins. It's not effective. Not when a group, everybody's passionate about what they have to say. You got to have some way to control it. And I really don't think we need to go to Robert's rules. To me, that's over the top for what we're doing. We're more like a community group, you know, kind of more family-ish, if you will. And we want to just sit down, we want to hash out things. Robert's rules is for those great guys over there, town council, or you know, these commissions that get some of the town business they take care of. So hopefully we don't have to go to that end. Okay. So just a voice vote right now. Do we want to do the football media controller or meeting control device? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Okay, so the ayes have it. It's a majority. We'll do the football, and we can always revisit it. If we're doing it, we're like, we don't need the football anymore. That's no, we can do that. Should we limit speaking time to people? So in other words, Lynn Denbo's got the floor, but Lynn Denbo's known to hold the floor for 20 minutes. Okay? Not saying you do, Lynn, I'm just using you as an example. Oh, that would be Phil. Okay. So we can set limitations up on our speakers now, or we can wait and see how it goes. If we start running into trouble, we can always vote on that later on and make it part of our rules, if you will. I think we should wait and just see how it goes. I think people are pretty respectful of everybody else, and they'll say, hey, you know, I've got a few minutes to speak, but no one's going to suck up all the time. So my suggestion is we wait on that, don't set limitations. If we have trouble, if it seems like our meeting's going real long, then we can always implement that later. So we'll just do a voice vote up and down. Do we want to set time limits now to speakers? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, nay?
Nay.
Okay, nays have it.
No,
Yeah.
it's just-
Can I just have a quick discussion on that?
Yep.
Can we have some sort of an agreement where if all of us start looking at each other, if somebody gets off of a tangent, that we can sort of have an maybe the moderators say, hey, we're off track?
Yep. Yep. And we
that would
like,
be,
yeah,
you
before
know,
you came,
a uniform.
before you came to, one thing we mentioned, you know, is on the agenda, we're gonna always have times, and those are just estimated times, doesn't mean we have to stick to that, but everybody's got them.
Right.
So everybody knows about what time we're supposed to be spending on subjects, and if somebody's floating,
Right, okay.
we can all say, oh, okay, you know, and that's
Right,
just
okay.
that peer pressure will kind of, oh, okay, I'll wrap it up here, you know. So yeah, definitely.
Someone could take their football away.
That's true, Phil. You're always thinking.
I played football.
We haven't tackled.
Let's go on. We have a lot to get done.
Okay, so here's the next thing. Do we open up this group to all adults, or to adults not from Hooksett? Currently, we're basically saying you gotta live in Hooksett to be in this group. I am in favor of opening up the group to any adult that wants to join our group. I might be in favor,
I'm sorry, I don't think this would be an issue.
Well, why would you want someone from outside of Hooksett to join the
They're
group?
not taxpayers.
Right.
Yeah, but see, it's just somebody might be interested in seeing what Hooksett does. How are we getting our problem solved? Because maybe,
No.
so, okay, and this is why we're voting, right? But, so I'll tell you where I'm coming from. There's another group in Manchester, very similar to what we are. The difference is we have a choice right now. The group in Manchester doesn't have a choice.
I'm gonna sit on the floor.
So
choose.
there's a whole community group in Manchester. I can't think of the name of it right now, but I sent the link out. So they're trying to solve
Something, citizens.
Citizens for Education or something like that.
Citizens for Manchester Schools.
Citizens for Manchester Schools, thank you. Thank you. So they have a great webpage, and the bottom line is, I've joined just to see what it is they're talking about in Manchester. You know, see how are they solving their problems. To me personally, we all know what it feels like to not be allowed to sit on someone's board when they're making decisions about your kid. We don't like that feeling. So I don't know why now when we create a group, we would want to be restrictive, except when it comes down to voting on issues that affect Hooksett. You follow me?
But John, what I don't, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yep.
Well, I signed up for the group
Yep.
and they requested, where does your child go to school now? Are you a donor town or a
Yep.
paying town?
Yep.
And I think that would be the reason why they opened it up to more than just Manchester. Because there's a lot of other towns that go to
We have standing,
Manchester.
we have standing, so we should be able to participate in that group.
Right.
I don't see where, there may be some standing for Hooksett or for Manchester residents to participate in our group. I just think what the risk we have is there's enough of us to make this very difficult to keep under control. The more we get other people from other towns involved, I just think the more difficult it is to keep this under control and focused. We've already had problems with focus.
Let's
I'm
vote
open
on
to
it.
hear
Yeah.
debate about
Vote on
this.
it.
Let's vote.
Yeah, we'll
And I
vote.
might add that at the end of the agenda, if somebody from Manchester or outside of Hooksett would like to speak, we give them like the last 5 minutes for a public comment. So they're not in our meeting, so to speak. So when it's right at the end of the meeting, there's 5 minutes left of the meeting, then they can have 5 minutes to speak or have their say.
Okay, I'll just throw this out there too. This is from, now, our perspective, like kind of an admin thing, because somebody sent a mail out this week and said, hey, you know, I see some people from Manchester on this group. So then it's like, well, what do we do about that? You know, somebody then has to say, well, who is it? Point them out and request that they be removed, because as you see, this group is growing and growing. It's hard enough trying to maintain, are there any kids on the group? So that we have to monitor that. And we're also then going to have to monitor who are the people that are joining the group. Right now, it's just, again, it's an open forum. So basically, someone says, I want to join, they join, they get approved.
Yeah, I don't know how you would police.
It's
I don't know
it's
how
tough.
you would police whether or not the people are from Hooksett or not. I'm not saying that. I think it should be mostly for Hooksett
Yeah.
people, but I don't know how you would police it if it was
You'd
open.
have to make it a closed group.
Right.
Okay.
Only your admins would approve.
Again, okay. See, I don't know. I don't know how you do that.
So there's a cost benefit thing there.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I think it's great that, you know, that the burden isn't put on, you know, a couple of people to be able to approve other folks, but I don't know how you police it.
I like the flexibility of all you
Yeah.
being able to approve people,
I
especially
know.
when you invite them. It's nicer, I think, that you invite them and then you can approve them too. I don't think that power, if you will, should go to a couple people.
And with no disrespect to this whole conversation, I think that's definitely something we should talk about, but I think we need to keep going because November 6th is next Tuesday. And
Yep.
that's one of the reasons why we're here. So maybe that's something we can move to the next agenda of the next meeting after we've
Yep,
done with
we
this
can do
voting
that.
thing.
Does everybody
Does that
want
make
to table
sense?
that for
Yeah,
next,
good idea.
okay, let's table that.
And maybe we could all watch to see.
And no
if we-
disrespect to those
No, no.
because they're all great
Good
things.
point.
I just think that timing wise, our focus tonight should be on that.
Yep.
Maybe we can research what's involved in a closed
And then
group.
after we get through the voting, we can work on administrative in the following
Yep.
meeting.
It's agreed. Okay, opening groups up to children, under 18. I'm opposed.
No.
I don't think we need to table that one. I think we can just vote
All right,
on
I
it.
agree, okay.
All in favor of limiting the group to 18 and over, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Anything else anybody has on their mind about the group itself? Okay, we're good there. All right, so now just get into update on the group itself. Everybody knows when it was started, less than 2 weeks ago. We're up to almost 300 people now. We went over about what it means to be an open group. Does everybody agree on transparency? We want to take meeting minutes, post them. We now, tonight, have a first time we have a videographer, so hopefully we can have that at every meeting. So the people that are outside who can't attend here can actually see the meeting, and that's how they participate virtually. Everybody agree on that? Well, up, down. All agree. Meeting minutes and transparency as much as possible. Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay.
No promises on the video.
Yeah, exactly. If we can get it, that's awesome. And so we already had a volunteer tonight. Thank you, Mark, for doing that. Does anybody have any suggestions on when we close this Facebook group? Because right now, you know, our focus is on high school issue and getting it to some point. So that, I think we can table and talk about that some other time, but start thinking about that when we close it. Okay? And I suggest we table the other one, the group description. That's posted. Go take a look at it under the group itself, description, and start thinking about, you know, how we describe our group to others. Group name vote, we can table that too. We really don't need that tonight. The reason for the group name is because we conflict currently with somebody in Hooksett, and somebody told me this, I don't remember what the name of the group is, but elementary school?
Hooksett Early Learning Preschool.
Hooksett Early Learning Preschool. So we don't need to vote on that tonight, but we will do that in another meeting. Same thing, what do we want to accomplish collectively? We can table that for tonight. All right, so let's get right into it. Review of the poll question ballot. So this, I'm proposing for Tuesday as one of the options we hand out to voters. I don't know if everybody has a copy of that, if you want to pass that around.
No, I didn't. It was a separate attachment. I didn't make a copy.
So just some stats on our... Yeah, if I could get the computer to work, I would do that. I'm not a meeting guy, so...
It did come up for a second.
Oh, it did?
Thank you.
Yeah, it's not on my computer,
Is this one, Mark? A little ancient. Somebody said Control F8,
but it
but...
might be it.
Can you put your poll in the middle so we can,
Looking for a physical
It was magic.
Yeah, it's like the Festivus tree.
F4. Function F4. Function F4, Phil.
I function F8 on my Dell, man, I'm just saying.
Separate,
Yeah.
I got the old school.
no, it was an attachment, it was a separate
Cool.
thing,
All right,
yeah.
um,
You know what I'm saying?
Let's see if I get that down.
You do full screen?
First I need to get the file.
perfect.
All right, so, I mean, this is a draft, so, you know, feel free to throw darts and arrows at it. It's basically taking what started with Dave Pearl from the Hooksett School Board meeting. He went through the multiple options, you know, all the way from, hey, we just stick with Manchester, don't change anything, all the way down to build a brand new high school, okay? So the idea here is take advantage of the presidential election coming up. We're talking about doing a fact sheet. This is just another thing we have. The idea is we have a big ballot box, and we get some kind of signs to attract people to come over to our little booth area, and we entice them into voting, and that way at the same time we can educate them. So this is just a simple sheet. Ideally, I thought this would be great to have business cards. So a format would be 2 business cards joined with a perforated edge. So the top part is their ballot, and then the bottom part they put in their pocket, and that has our information on it. but there's just too much there to put in a small format.
There's too much there to have them vote on.
Well, you know, it is what it is. This is what's available to our Hooksett voters right now. So what we're trying to do here is provide some feedback to the Hooksett school board on where the general population wants to go for their high school.
Could we get this put in the banner for, oh, it's too late for this week, right?
Yeah, it's too late. So what we did, the banner already had, I can't think of her name, who's banner? Ginger. So Ginger already put in there a nice article about the group, and she said, hey, there's a poll, and it had all these options, and it pointed to our group. So that's already been done.
Alright, so it's, okay.
It's already been done.
Is that this week's
I
paper?
still think it's
This past
confusing
week.
for people on how to find it. Again, you keep telling them they have to go onto our group and then under events.
Right,
So-
right. The problem is, if you just go, like what we're learning, again, none of us are Facebook power users. If you just post on the page, it quickly gets lost.
Yeah.
So the events is the really one way that I found, and maybe there's a better way, but the events is a way to kind of track.
Just go to that one
Something.
specific item,
Yeah, go to the events, and then you have the events we're focusing in on. And there could be a better way.
Wondering if some of these are a little bit mute because the board voted that he can go out and start negotiating things. So we have negotiate contract with Pinkerton, that choice has been taken away. He can already do that.
No, this is,
No, he's not
He's just formal discussions?
Formal discussion.
yeah.
Okay,
This is basically, this is the people telling the board, this is what we want you to do.
okay.
You know, it's you know, basically, you know, if we go through these options, right? The first one just says don't change anything. Continue to send our kids to Hooksett, to Manchester, and we want both choices, central and west. That's what we do today. Okay. The second one is continue sending them to Manchester, but only a west option. Now, the reason this is up there is because this is what Manchester's talking about. They want to alleviate the crowding at Central because they have a potential of losing their accreditation. So if they want to do that, one of their options is, hey, Hooksett, we want to take all of the Hooksett kids and shuffle them over here to West. And that would require a renegotiation of the contract.
Which would kind of be a good thing for us.
It depends who you ask though. If you're a diehard
If
Central,
you're a diehard Central people,
Yeah,
they
well,
ain't
Well,
going
no,
nowhere.
that would allow the door to open, because they would be presenting,
Exactly.
renegotiate.
Yep.
They could still stay at Central if you're a diehard Central fan, just everybody else that would choose to go somewhere else could.
Yeah, yeah.
Easier.
So just kind of, it's out there, it's being talked about already, so we might as well be aware of it and know it could potentially come from Manchester as their negotiation point. It doesn't mean it's going to happen, it's just, we gotta get it out there so the people know that they're at least talking about it. The third one here is pull out of Manchester contract by declaring breach or mutual agreement. And I added mutual agreement. Mark brought up the point that, you know, it's true. They have already talked about, they're gonna go in and talk to Manchester about, hey, we both kind of want to get out of this current contract, and that's a mutual agreement, versus a fire a shot across the bow. We have stuff here that says we can file breach. Two different attacks, right? The breach is like, you start lawyering up and you start fighting. The mutual agreement is say, we both have an interest in getting out of this contract. What do you say we sit down, like people, get along, and hammer this out together? So they're already talking about doing that. Manchester's going to come to Hooksett and talk. The school board's the only one, school board and our superintendent only know what they're gonna and how they're gonna negotiate. So we won't know that till this stuff becomes public.
So the meeting on the 15th is private?
Which
No,
one?
it's two different
No,
things.
it's public, but
Meeting
what
here.
it said in the banner was they haven't agreed to come yet, so.
Yeah.
we'll-
Okay.
we'll
And
find
David
out.
said we're
I'm
having it
sure
regardless.
Yeah.
That's
We'll
what David
find
said.
out on Tuesday night, there's
Yeah.
a school board meeting.
Yeah.
Moderator, can I speak?
Oh, yeah.
One of the things you gotta realize too is that there is a negotiation that's gonna take place and it's gonna conclude. And it's either going to be mutual or it's gonna be a filing of breach. And then all of a sudden, two things trigger. One is if it's a negotiation, a mutual negotiation, if there's a mutually agreed upon settlement, then it's gonna go to warrant and you're gonna vote on it in May. If it goes to breach, it'll be delayed by a year and it'll go through that process. So you're on that path. The trying to do, and I think you could probably pull internally here is to say, what do you want to maintain going forward? Because I think what you really people should realize is that the contract with Manchester is probably going to end, period. And based on that, what do you want to do? We know we have legacy, loyalty, and alma maters. So the question would be, negotiate and maintain that all students within the school can maintain that path. And then the question is going to be, do we negotiate a contract with another school? And at that point is what school? But also maintain the ability in which to go to Manchester, because you can still maintain that. And I was trying to, from this here, is that doing ballots, and John's done different petitions. When you have voters coming in, I mean, you guys know, I mean, you kind of
Right.
and in and out.
Yeah.
This will be a little bit overwhelming. The other thing too is that you can do a lot of education, but at the ballot box, the people are just going to go in and out. I think what you want to try to do is distill it down in something very simplistic. This is my point, and that is Manchester only, and basically say what I call is no choice or choice. And choice is Manchester plus. And the thing is that ultimately everybody might have a different position of saying, oh no, hell, I want just Manchester, or I want Pinkerton, or I want Bow, plus some others, or something of that nature. Ultimately, it really doesn't matter, because it comes down to, if they have that mutual agreement, there's going to be a vote. And the question is, at that vote, how are you going to position yourself to either get, to either vote in the affirmative or negative? So if you really look at this, the question is to everybody to understand how people might vote is Manchester only or Manchester plus.
So we can probably condense, I mean, I think it's a good idea, right?
And I think we should build a Hooksett High School, Lease West High
Condense
School.
this down to 2 points. Stay.
Because
Right out of there.
honestly,
See, I disagree.
Choice or no
I
choice.
disagree, because I think there are people in this town that want to lease a high school. And the idea is it's more of an ownership thing. Because if we're always a sending town, we really never own anything.
Football.
Oh,
But John, to Todd's point, oh man.
did you say you used
I
to
wasn't
play
allowed to see that. I was a defender, I used to hit people. I like where Todd's going, because it's almost like we're putting the cart before the horse. I understand about all the choices, but he's making it simple and then saying, are people for out or for they staying? And then after that, then we can
There
get
you
into the
go.
specifics of where we want to go and what we want to do. I think it makes more sense. They take something like this,
I think
it'd be
that's
like
too much.
too much complicated, they might
Yeah.
even throw it away. You know what I mean?
I think we all agree now.
So-
We're all agreeing. Let's just take a voice vote quickly. Do we all agree this is too much, too
Yeah.
confusing?
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
I think
Anybody
we-
opposed?
And kill the dove.
Sorry, that doves our group sign.
Yeah, peace.
I don't know, it's too religious looking.
What?
It is.
Peace.
Nah. I was turned off the minute I saw it.
So let's just start here. Let's just get this, right? And this. Let's just start here.
I mean, isn't our objective here really more educational as opposed to?
Well, we have a two-pronged approach, right?
We're trying to educate the people and get a sense as to where they are,
At
if
least
they even are there.
Tuesday.
Because a lot of people are gonna, I believe, be, wow, not aware of it, or even
Yep.
we're all deeply involved.
Yep.
We're aware
And that's
of
why I like the top part, John, where you kind of explain why people should be concerned, you know what I mean? But then the options part of it should be.
I'm sorry. No,
Is leasing West High School even an option from Manchester? What is Manchester gonna do with all their West students?
Pay us.
That's,
They would pay us.
No, they would actually, they'd move their students over to Central.
right, but that's
Redistrict.
already overcrowded, so.
But that's because Hooksett students are there.
There's
But
only
I don't even think
400.
these things have been discussed, so, I mean,
that would
again,
have to
we
be
just
approved
need
by
to stay
Manchester.
focused on Tuesday and
You've got a
getting
limited
the
focus from
education
your,
out. This
from
all
the
comes
people walking
later.
by.
Right.
You've got
This
20
really all
seconds to
comes
get them to
after
say
the
yes or no.
15th.
to
It's
something.
November 15th. Right now, the town, 80% of this town does not know why this is going on.
Yeah.
And that's what our job's gonna be Tuesday, is to somehow inform them, and this should come after, I think.
Well, you can get a petition with that limited, with your limited time to inform people, and you can say, you can take a poll to say, do you want choice, or do you want to keep it status quo? And that's
Something to
very,
that
very,
effect,
choice or no
right?
choice is very
I mean, I
simple
like Tom's
directions. but-
ideas.
Yeah, I agree.
Dr. Ball. The reason the question you have to, I think you have to discuss amongst yourselves is what is the objective? The idea is that no matter what, there's going to be some type of mutual agreement or breach. Breach puts off the decision in the education period for a year, from May to May, so May of 2014.
I'm confused why you're saying that.
Because, well,
They
you
have
can,
a-
maybe you can explain it more, but.
They have 180 days.
Got 180
They have 100
days.
days to fix
Right.
it.
But we haven't even sent them
We haven't
a
done the
letter.
breach.
From when they get the letter.
From when they get the letter, so I'm not sure where May to May is.
Well,
Like, once
so
we're in
as
a
to
breach
go-
on the 180th day,
And-
we're out. I mean,
No.
we're not out, but that's when it would be
That's when the
terminated.
perfect words, yeah,
Right.
If they,
fight.
if we,
But then appeals, right? And that,
Well-
then there are appeals, but it's not a year.
Well, let me just
Could
put
be.
let me put it this way. Ultimately, it has to go before the voter if it deals with any cash and budget aspect. So ultimately, there'll be a warrant on.
But a breach doesn't involve money.
I know, but you only have between May to May. You know what I can say? It could be, it's gonna be greater than 6 months. You
Yes,
know,
that's
if you-
why the board made the decision
Yeah.
to go to renegotiate.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying is I look at it from May to May in decisions. If you don't have a mutual agreement before to bring it to warrant for this election in May,
No, actually, our election is March. We have
Right,
to
well,
have it
March.
for March, and
Right.
if we don't have it for March, and it's
Right.
determined by the Department of Education that we have a breach of contract,
yeah,
we are afforded the opportunity to have a special election for our new contract with Manchester
Sure.
or a contract with someone else to have a special election.
right.
It is my understanding from both the lawyer and from the school district
Yeah.
that we would be granted that by the Superior Court.
I guess what I'm saying is it's the disposition of the kids. The kids aren't gonna be making a school change in the middle of
Right.
March or middle of June.
No, they
It'll be the
finish in
following-
September.
Yeah,
The new entrance would be the following
that's fine.
September.
that's fine. So we're saying at least 6 months.
But you're not gonna make March.
To
You're saying the
September
same
1st.
thing he is.
Right, you guys.
Yeah, it's just
I'm
You're
just-
saying the same thing,
I'm
you're
just saying
wording
there's
it
two-
differently than he
Yeah,
is.
I'm
it's
in
just
an
two
email
periods.
loop, I'm trying to get an answer to a question.
There's just 2 periods though. I mean, if you can have that clarified, that'd be fine. I just operate on that, the May to May. I always forget that there's a special election for schools, March to March. But the issue here is how you want the vote to go. That's why I always say choice, no choice is Manchester, choice is Manchester plus. And the reason I say that, and that's what you have to actually think about, is because we all have biases. I have a particular bias to say I'd like my kid to go to a certain school. Everybody has that bias. Like also you have to deal with the electorate, and the electorate is a lot of legacy Manchester alumni. You have to deal with that. And so the question is if you're gonna win them over to get the vote in an affirmative way, you really need to make sure you have that caveat out there that it's not anti-Manchester, it's Manchester plus. And the reason I say you do that ballot is, what you gain from that is if you get a majority of people saying, I like that, like a majority saying Manchester plus, then you know that most likely you're gonna win that warrant when it comes up. If it flips, where the majority it's Manchester only, then you all have to collectively look at each other and say, well, am I for Manchester only or Manchester plus? And then you have to create a campaign dedicated to Manchester plus, and then the opposite people, Manchester only. And that's really what it comes down to. So if you really want to know that, engage that, you simplify it to that point, choice or no choice, or being Manchester or Manchester plus, that's all.
And would there be money on the March vote? Because people are gonna wanna know what the money is.
Well, it depends on the settlement first. You first have to deal with the contract.
Right, that, I don't know that would be
That's the next step.
available at that point.
You good?
Yep. Okay, so can we make a vote to say that just in this little group, we're gonna put a ballot together for the election with Manchester only or Manchester choice, and then we can keep the bill to Hooksett, the contract stuff. Let's just table that on the side for tonight. We can come back and revisit it so that at least by 7 o'clock we say, okay, this is what our ballot is gonna have, this and this, and then the rest of the stuff, that's
So,
fine.
I mean, yeah, because that's what we're doing here tonight. That's why this is up on the screen. You know, what we decide tonight, we're speaking for the rest of the group tonight.
But even as our little group, do we really need to go into all the rest of that stuff tonight?
No, that's what we're saying.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's why I just said, you know, let's kibosh going forward. It sounds like everybody's like, yeah, let's do that. So let's not everybody else have to say something for 20 minutes. Let's vote. I would like to vote on what
Collectively,
he.
you want to get rid of this right here?
I,
Two lines?
selectively, I want to vote on what he just said.
Yep.
On the ballot, I want to say Manchester only or Manchester
Take a look
plus
at the wording
choice.
here. Does this suffice?
I have a question to this, because now that the school board has voted to negotiate out of Manchester,
Yeah, but they can only
they're
talk.
moving forward, this continue all Hooksett students to Manchester, to me sounds like that's not gonna be an option.
Should we have a third
Well,
option
this-
here that
this is
says send?
To gauge what the voters would want, when you have a special election.
But if
Right.
the school board's already saying to Manchester, we wanna negotiate out,
But they can renegotiate a contract.
They could, they could
oh, cause if
extend
the
it.
warrant goes down,
We have
okay,
to vote
sorry,
on that.
We still have the
So
contract.
keep
Gotcha.
it
Still there.
very
Gotcha.
simple.
gotcha, sorry, didn't,
I mean, you could put a third option that says send Hooksett students to alternate schools only. But we already know there's enough people in
No.
town that wouldn't
Yeah.
put up with that.
yeah, I think this is good.
The one thing I think, and again, to Todd's point, I think this is a great idea because at all the meetings for folks, again, like some of the school board meetings, people show, some they don't. And the question that constantly comes up is if my kid's in Manchester now, do I have to pull them out? And obviously, if your kid's in high school, so that's the key, I think, to saying like Manchester or Manchester plus, so that folks feel like, because everyone's been asking it, they've asked the question a million times, the same thing. And my kid's at West, are they gonna be able to finish at West? My kid has a sibling that's younger, and I want them to go West, whatever. So I think you win those people over by doing the plus, because I think most people are reasonable about that versus if you say we just move out totally and they can't. That's always a question that comes up with, do my kids stay or whatever, so.
I guess the only thing I say, I think it's out of our control a little bit, right? Because once we end that contract we're currently in, there's really nothing holding Manchester to say, except for the kids that are there now, they can finish. But they really don't have to allow any new kids to come in from Hooksett if we end that first contract. That's what I believe.
There's no reason they, but why,
But you
why would
always
they
have-
not?
Yeah, but that's for the school board.
Yeah,
Why-
that's not us.
You know, we can speculate about it, it's money.
It's money.
It's money, that's all they
This
care
whole
about.
problem is they have no money, so.
And
Right.
they're gonna want them.
You had your hand up.
I wanted to get rid of Bill Hooks at high school because we know that was never gonna happen.
Right.
But can we switch them?
Flip it.
Yeah, put the good one on top.
Yeah, we can do that.
All in favor? Aye.
Lynn, what do you say? No, I mean, it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter. I mean, if somebody, this is really someone's opinion, so if they have a strong opinion, it doesn't matter where you put that, you know, first or second, they're gonna vote how they feel.
I think we
The
should
only-
change the wording on the top one.
Yeah, what would you
Continue
like?
to send Hooksett students to Manchester with choice. I don't know, send Hooksett students to Manchester to send.
Plus others.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
what-
it,
I guess-
instead of saying
No,
continue
it's
to
good to
send
keep choice.
Hooksett students, say,
Just
continue
send.
an option with Manchester, but other, I don't know, just send
The
Hooksett
key is
students to
choice,
Manchester.
though. That's the
Right.
key word.
Yeah, and I think if you don't put continue to send,
Yeah.
People are
you're
think
gonna,
about-
there's a big part that want us to
So,
continue
Mark's got the
to
football.
Mark's got the
please.
football.
Mark's got the
I think
football.
the second one, you wanna say no choice, to highlight the difference, that you
Actually,
are,
I
you
like that
have,
too.
yeah, I mean, as far as a clear message, choice and no choice,
That is
Remains
true.
the same.
right?
I like the no choice.
So I would say you know,
Or some other word.
no
Choice-
other
choice is
choices,
thesaurus,
something to
thesaurus
that
would
effect.
mean one.
exclusively.
How about we
Choice and
started
no
with,
choice.
how about we started with choice?
Oh, no choice.
You get to send all your, choice, hyphen, send all your kids, continue to send to Manchester, or alternatives, however we want to word that. No choice, continue to send your kids to Manchester only.
Put it
And
up
I think Pam is right, because
Yeah.
we all get this. We're not standing in the, from the perspective of somebody who's just getting hit with this, so that we understand that, but it's.
I think that's a good idea.
I like that too. A lot of great ideas going on there.
And maybe make the text big, because a lot of
So,
elderly
Yeah,
people in
if I may,
Hooksett have to
Yeah,
read
fine.
it.
the current options right now is, there is a choice in Manchester, from JCA or JCB.
True.
That is still a choice. So I would caution, I've written petitions before and done surveys, and you gotta caution on how you word things. And if it's noticed by the people who are signing the petitions that there's a slant to the position, to the petition, you lose people that way, and you lose trust in a petition at all. I would also say, well, I have the football.
He's not one.
What's not being mentioned in this at all is cost. So I don't know how you would add that in there, but if I look at this right now, I don't know how I would vote, because it depends how much this is gonna cost.
Yeah.
And I would ask this room to have a discussion about that. I don't know if you're on the agenda on that, but what are you people in this room willing to spend for the choices that you're willing to make?
Yeah, I think the problem is we have this deadline coming up.
Yeah.
That's set in stone. It's Tuesday. We have a lot to do by Tuesday. So we do know the school board asked for opinion. They gave 8 choices, or at least I think Dave Pro put up something like 8 choices. So I think right here, we've done a great job of narrowing that down to help people make it clear at the polling booth, because it is going to be a quick, I got to make a decision, I'll give you a yes or no answer. But we don't have a lot of time to collect additional data, I guess is my point, Mark, and we have to get these printed, so we have a lot of things to do with people working and stuff.
How about add contracted, I'm sorry.
There is no data on
Collecting the
cost yet.
wrong data is not helpful though.
Right, I agree.
So
I
if
agree.
it's
A rush.
10,500 at Pinkerton, if it's 8,900 at Central, if busing's an issue, all those are gonna be really important.
Yep.
Just so you know, think about this though, and I come with a good argument, and I make it sound good. So I always say challenge it. But here's one thing to keep in perspective. When we talked about doing an exhaustive survey for high school, it came out 50-50. The only reason I say keeping it simple is all you really want to do is gauge that if somebody is leaning towards the idea of choice or no choice, and how that divides up. And the question is that information something you want? Because ultimately, when you get to because no matter what, it's out of your control. There's going to be some type of mutual agreement, or there's going to be breach. Ultimately, the contract is going to be either going to stay in place or it's going to go away. And the question is, when it goes away, if it comes before the voter, between this election and March, is your timeline in which all of a sudden you have to create a campaign depending on which side of the argument you're on. And this information helps both sides of the argument. I always look at it as an integrated thinking. You look at both sides of it, both sides of the argument, and weigh them both to try to come in the middle. But the reality of it is there's going to be groups on either side of this that are going to fall away, and it's that middle ground people that you're going to try to educate, because people are going to have their biases on either side. And it's the middle ground they're going to say, well, wait a minute. And they're going to be the ones that are going to say, what about cost? And that's the stuff you can address between this election and March. And because what you don't want to do is put something out there that's not real. And I don't think anyone can really get the price down.
Instead of continue to avoid the issues of cost as far as choice goes, we could do contract to send students to Manchester with choice, or contract to send Hooksett students to Manchester only. That way it doesn't get involved with the JCB thing of, yeah, the tuitions are a different price. That way the tuition, if we contracted the same with both opinions, then it would alleviate the JCB, what we can do right now, but pay the difference.
People like that?
Football.
Football?
Someone's got the football. Just use the tool.
I think that our wording needs to be continue to send Hooksett students to Manchester with choice of alternative contracted schools.
There you go.
Because if you say contracted, then we take on the responsibility of transportation as a town, and you can avoid the whole JCB. And then continue to send Hooksett students to Manchester only is pretty much what we have. You could say, continue contract with Manchester. The verbiage isn't that, doesn't really bother me on the bottom, but if we say contracted, we wanna make other contracts.
All right, I'm gonna propose, we've done a pretty good job of trimming this down. So I'm proposing that we'll throw this out on the website. If we wanna add, you guys, we can debate a little more. If we wanna touch and put a couple extra words in or take some out, I think we'll be able to resolve it on the Facebook page so we don't drag tonight. What do you guys say?
Trisha.
Tricia, go ahead.
I just want to make everyone aware that the Manchester School District does not want to come to Hooksett to talk to Hooksett.
They already made that statement?
What?
They already made that clear?
Yes, they
They
would like to
responded?
make.
They have a
Yes.
school board meeting the same night as yours that they're committed to?
No, we have requested a meeting with them, which
On the
is so
same night that they
posted.
have a school board meeting?
No, we have not. It is on a separate night, is on November 15th, which they have agreed to. The date, they are not agreeing to come to Hooksett. They want it to be neutral, which they feel is the health department in Manchester.
How is that neutral?
But actually, that's very helpful for us.
There's your
That's why
Well,
I
yeah,
asked for the
exactly.
football.
So let's use that to
Let's
keep
propose
powering
the-
forward and vote on this and get it out.
Can you get rid of as well?
Back room.
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
Yeah, that confuses.
They can buy the mudslides.
Backroom
I
restaurant.
never said I was an English major.
Can I? Football, how about we just simplify it? And, you know, choice would be, what was it, did we decide to remove choice and no choice? Is that too-
Choice of alternate contracted schools.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think you
that
have to
works.
have contracted schools
Twice
in
is
there,
why-
because
I
otherwise.
think your verbiage works right there.
Continuous
I think it works too.
Manchester
And it
with
goes to
choice,
Mark's position.
with choice of alternative contracted schools.
Yeah, I think that's what you need in
Continue to
there.
send Hooksett students to Manchester.
All right, I'm gonna, unless somebody else has some comments, I'm just gonna propose you take a voice vote here on this, with the verbiage it is. We'll put it out there on our Facebook page and see if anybody else comes up with something that we're really missing here.
Could I add a twist?
Sure.
All right, the other thing is that the amount of stuff you have filling out down below, that since this is really kind of you could have two, just I'm throwing this out here, you have two petitions, one for one of the questions, one for the next, where you just ask for a signature because it's not a legal petition, it's really just everyone coming out is going to be a registered voter. But just that way, it's very simple. You say, I just need a signature, choice versus no choice. You can say that, or you can just repeat the information. And the person will go, okay, just sign it. Unless you want to collect data, which then, if someone thinks they're going to have to fill out their address and a signature, and
Just sign it, one here, one there.
just a nice idea.
I agree, because people think you're gonna be haunting them for something. If you put down your name and all, people would be more willing to give their genuine opinion if you weren't looking for their name and stuff like that.
Signature though?
Yes.
The signature is
Yeah,
fine. Yeah, because that way at least it's not the same person
Just
doing
one
it
name or
4,000 times.
just their signature?
Just signature. And they can scribble even if they want.
Yeah, I can pretty it up.
What about name, because it's probably more legible, it'd be good to know who the people are, where people are like.
Do we really need to know? We
Doesn't
really
we
need
really
to know
don't
who
need
they
to.
We're just
are.
not gonna gauge it, right?
They're in Hooksett, they're voting.
True.
We
It's
really
like,
need
it's
to
like,
know
it's
who
like an
they are.
exit poll, really, right?
It's a poll,
Like an
it's not
exit
really
poll,
a.
If we ask by your
Okay.
Hey, Joe, could
signature
you
many
split the two
times,
decisions a
so-
little bit more too to make it more?
Yeah, I will. I'll
Yeah.
pretty it up.
Okay.
I'll pretty it up. There's just the data we're gonna put out there.
Okay.
All right, so I'll call a voice vote on this. This will be something we put together to have presented along with our data sheet on November 6th when people come to Hooksett to vote.
So where do you want your money to
All
go?
in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, so majority rules. We'll post this out on the Facebook site and we'll elicit any other comments from the group.
Can I just ask, sorry, can I steal that
No,
football from
yeah.
you?
Good hand.
The dollar signs where it says please join, does that really mean anything? Because to me, when I first looked at that, I was looking like, oh, they got money for
Donations.
I thought it
Yeah.
meant like we actually knew some dollar
Yeah,
figures.
So it's a good point. I mean, I threw it in there because Tracy was making a point that it's all about money and we want to draw people's attention. This is a money issue, but if it's confusing, we just take it out of there.
I think it looks like you're looking for donations
Yeah.
too.
Well, I was gonna ask for some like beer money, but that's not good.
Football.
Okay.
Who does this email go to? Help students@groups.facebook.com.
That goes to the group. So if you send an email to that, it goes to all the people in the group, 300 people.
Okay.
That's how somebody who doesn't have Facebook can contact the group.
Oh, okay.
Okay? Oh, somebody has a question?
Yep, could we simplify this one more step? Am I correct in understanding that we would have members standing out there?
Yeah.
Couldn't it be on a sheet of paper that had question 1, question 2, a list? We're flipping on our clipboards. We don't need them to put it in a ballot box, because we're using the information just for our group.
Sign under the side you choose.
Exactly. And then at the next meeting we come to, oh, I stood out there from 8 to 10. Here were the pages I collected. Or when I leave, I give my pages to the underneath of the clipboard who's taken my spot for the time frame. So that it's going to be, you're going to have a list. Oh, look at, I got 20, oh, we got 120 yeses and 100 noes.
I guess I'm not following. The whole idea behind the tear off, is that what you're getting at?
I'm talking about the way that we're presenting.
Yeah.
So scratch your ballot thought that this would be a blank sheet of paper.
Yeah.
I would have continue to send hooks it to Manchester with choice of alternative contract schools with a list. Just open blank lines where people could put their names.
Oh, I
Or
see.
on
Like
this
a
side,
petition.
I could continue to send hooks it students to Manchester only. We don't,
The
Yes.
only thing I want them to take away is some way for them to put something in their pocket
Oh,
so
I
they
see.
can know how to join our group. Because we're also looking for
So
people.
we can handle
That's a
that.
handout.
Yeah.
but that would be a very,
Give them a separate sheet you can take.
yeah, we could do that in a whole bunch.
The thing to remember here, now I don't know, Tom, I know you agreed to print something, but we have to think about the number that we're printing. So every time we say, hey, let's add another document, we're probably talking about another maybe 5,000 copies of something.
Well, it'd be less because we wouldn't have that. So we would just have one sheet of paper that,
100
with
pages.
blank
But
lines
we're gonna give
with one
something
line.
away. Could you
But you
print
could make, 8 up on a sheet, little.
Right, little cards.
Strips that have that.
little strips?
Do
Little
a
strip
color.
you hand out.
I
Or that
could-
little card you wanted, John, that
We
little
could do
business
2
card
huge
kind of.
posters
That's what I was
to
gonna
catch
say.
their
Over
eyes.
here, on here,
I'd
yep,
be
you
willing to
print
do
5,000
those.
cards. Takeaway.
Please
All right,
stop.
I want to get this on record. Todd,
Yeah, I'll print the 5,000 cards.
thank you, Todd.
Hey, John, I like this idea. I like where, if we just had, like I said, a sheet with the people's names, and literally, we had person at the polls all day, like everybody volunteers for a couple hours, and you just have one sign here, that's maybe 4x2, that says, says the first statement, your choice, then your no choice, and you just go, hey, listen, could you sign? Indicate which way you want to go, and then that way we just have numbers.
With a big poster that says, please take a
Yeah.
minute, and then have the 2 choices on a big
I
nice
like it.
poster, and then
Do
people.
we want to agree to have one clipboard that has the first choice, another clipboard with the second choice, or the bisected sheet that has both choices on either side? I mean, that's just a formality that we need to kind of,
I think you want them separate, only because just in case someone gets confused and
yeah,
writes on it.
okay.
And, yeah,
So
and
wait, what did
I
we
would
say?
say,
Sorry.
So I think what we're deciding is kind of like we have an advertisement tent with a choice, no choice, and then we have people there monitoring, if you will, the people signing and answering questions. This,
Perfect.
if you go here and sign this paper, it's just saying you want to continue to go to Manchester, no choice.
Yeah.
If you sign this line, you want Manchester plus. It's that simple. Hey, would you like to take one of our sheets? Join our group. We'd love to have you.
Perfect.
And
Adios.
everybody volunteers an hour or 2 during the day, we get the whole day covered.
Okay, voice vote on that.
I'll volunteer.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, so that's what we'll go with. So let's move on. So just to give you a check though, we're at 7:12 and we are supposed to be done at 6:25. So it's easy to float. Just making a
This
point.
was good though, John.
Yeah, but that was
No,
successful
it's
because
good.
It was substantive.
Yeah, exactly.
That's-
Sue Salcedo's not here.
Okay, can we, one
Oh,
second.
yep.
Alyssa has a list for people to sign up for the polls with for tonight.
Okay.
So we'll
I'm
pass
taking the
that
day off
around?
from work, so you can
So
put
if
me
you
on.
wanna pass it around, do I
Well, the
have to
issue
talk to
is
you?
that it's 6 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Yep.
Somebody's gonna need to be there at 5:30 a.m. to set up. I don't know, so that person's gonna need to have everything that they need to have the night before. Wherever, who's ever printing everything, who's ever got the Easy Up tent, whoever has everything, they need to have it that night before, Monday
And
night.
we're setting up outside, or, is that where,
Yeah,
I mean,
you have
do
to
we
be
even
outside.
just,
Yeah.
you have to be outside,
You
okay.
have to be outside.
And where?
So would somebody like to volunteer to be just the coordinator, just to basically tell us all what to do? Melissa, would you like to volunteer?
You ran a hell of a payroll, Melissa, you
No,
can
that's
run this.
fine, yeah, no, that's
Okay, there we
fine.
go.
All in
We have
favor?
our
Aye.
volunteer. So she's gonna basically organize us, tell us what to do, when to be there.
And you should make sure you have an easy up, of something just.
Does somebody have an easy up they can bring,
I do.
or at least make available?
I can
Okay,
run.
Tom
You can
Parnell?
use mine, yeah.
So he'll have that the night before to whoever's gonna be there early in the morning. I can volunteer to be there early. I don't have a problem getting
John, I
there
was gonna
early.
say, I can go with the inside.
So Phil and I will be there early, we'll get
Tuesday,
Like
there.
the high traffic,
Tuesday.
obviously.
I'll be there.
Although we wanna
I'll
catch
go
the
there
folks
early.
during the
Yeah,
day
it's
that
my
don't
day
work
off.
either. We
Okay.
wanna
Normally I'm
So
at
you
4,
bring the
so
easy up.
I'll
Tom
be there.
Parnell's got the easy up.
You need a folding table, probably.
Folding table, I have one of
I
those.
have a table.
Couple chairs.
Okay, who's gonna bring the folding table? Do you wanna bring yours?
How many do you think we need? One?
Well, I would think one.
I'd say
Yeah.
one.
Is that parent-teacher?
There
Yes,
is
it
parent-teacher conferences. I know I'm scheduled for around 10:30 or so with
I
my
can bring
wife.
a folding table, I got a big like
Do you
4 by
wanna
8.
send that around?
I just wanna make sure we don't have 10 folding
I'm
tables
just
show
writing
up.
down the setup.
So we'll talk to our coordinator. Who would you like to bring a table? We have multiple offers. I know you offered, but we also have multiples in the room.
Somebody who's going to be there.
If you're gonna be
there,
Well, if you're gonna be there at 5:30.
You got, is yours like one of the nice
It's a
plasticky
brand new
ones?
plastic one, you fold in half and
Phil
over.
Denbo,
You've seen it at my house, you made chips off of it too, so. Perfect.
Phil Denbo is bringing the table for us. Tom Parnell is bringing the easy up. Todd is printing the cards we're gonna give away to people.
I'll make the posters.
Tracy, Stacy
that'd be
will
awesome.
make some posters.
I just wanna be clarified on what
And
I
then
want
you
on
can get
them.
them to me the night before.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can go into details of that after the meeting or
Okay.
on the Facebook site.
Okay.
Do we have enough to move on?
Just to be clear, the table cannot obstruct the citizens from approaching the election facility.
I remember that, Mark. Where would you recommend
I would
setting
recommend the
up?
same place we put the last petition on for the.
Was that in the parking lot?
Yeah, I would.
It was
The
on the
island,
island
grass
as we're
island.
coming out of the parking lot, but it can't obstruct the citizens from approaching.
So we don't want to put it in the sidewalk.
No.
Maybe in the grass next
In
to
that
the
grass, right
sidewalk.
where we had it, yeah.
Yeah.
When they come in or when they come out? That's
They
another-
go both ways. Do we want to have two tables? Because remember, I think there were people that snuck around that didn't come to the table, and we were like, boy, it would be nice to have a table over there.
If I remember correctly, we had 10 clipboards.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it was.
Oh, we need clipboards.
that's a good
Anybody get
idea.
clipboards?
Yeah, so you can walk and get them.
Anybody have clipboards?
I'm not afraid to go.
10 clipboards, that's true. We can walk around and elicit votes.
Again,
Oh,
you
oh,
can't
I
obstruct them.
Might be
You
able,
can't
and your
stop
name is?
them from walking by you.
Pam Walter. So Pam Walter's gonna look into getting clipboards. So if you can't get them, Pam, just send a little thing out to Facebook, say, I couldn't get them, can anybody else get them? And out of 300 people, we ought to be able to get some. Clipboards, pens. Same
Bring a
idea.
box.
With a box of pens, Stacy's gonna get us a
Maybe
box
a
of
couple
pens.
of us do that.
Anything else you can think
Few
of?
people can do pens.
Yeah, just-
Chairs, are we gonna be standing, sitting?
I think it'd be standing.
Standing.
Yeah, I mean, if you want a chair, bring a chair.
Couple chairs.
Take it with you. Yeah, because it does get tiring, and if the crowds are lax, you like to sit down.
Take
Okay.
a load off of them.
Yeah. Are we good?
Has somebody alerted the town hall about this?
No. Do we need to do that, Mark?
Do
I
what?
did last year, well, when we had that, I alerted Marlene Lean to it, she was the moderator at the time.
I was supposed to do that, Casey, you pointed me to contact.
Okay, you're gonna do that?
Don Riley, or.
Don Riley, Don Riley or the town clerk's office. Just to let them know, just give them a
Okay,
heads
make
up.
a note that we're, tell them what we're gonna do and
You're
what,
not doing anything wrong, you're just
No.
letting them know what's
just
gonna
a
happen.
group of concerned parents about the education of kids in Hooksett.
What was his name?
Don Riley.
How would she get his information, or would she should just call the town clerk?
I can just look it up and that town looks at
So, I didn't know if he was on there.
Okay, we ready to move on? Think we got it covered?
And
Right.
you're gonna pass that around tonight?
I am, but my question is, we want multiple people for multiple times, so I'm just gonna have you write down right now what times you can go, and then I will coordinate it hour by hour and send it out, because there's no way I can do like 6 AM. So, yes?
So I'd like to say that if there's overlap, that's a good thing, and as you're coordinating, it's probably going to be a good idea to get everybody together who's going to talk at the polls, so that there's a uniform message, but also we don't say stuff that we can't support. So
That's
we don't want to
bias.
cite facts or
Was
numbers that we can't support.
Was there going to be fact sheets? I thought that somebody
There
was
should be.
making slides, or we were gonna do posters
We're
or
gonna be
fact
discussing that.
sheets.
We're
Yeah,
gonna
we
be
haven't got
discussing
that far yet.
Okay, so I'm just gonna send this around, just write down what time you can come and your name, and then I will.
It's a good point Mark makes, though. We have to be careful not to mislead people. If you don't know an answer to a question, just say, I really don't know, I'm a parent just like you. I'm just getting involved, I don't know, but we can get you the answer.
I will find out.
Yeah, we will get you the answer.
Please come to our next meeting.
Can I take your contact information? I'll call you back, or I'll get you an email. And that's another time to give them the card to say, join our group. And you can bring that question up to the group. We'll answer it for you. You know, that's, to me, is a big hook. Anytime somebody asks us, hey, we talk about that on this group, why don't you join us? You know, we need your support. Are we ready? Can we move on? Okay. So now, just so we know, we're at 7:20, and so we're about an hour behind. So the first question, we're going to just quick voice poll. Do we make a fact sheet to help educate the public for the polls, which is Tuesday? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Okay. So the ayes have it, majority. All right. So then we have to think about what is the data on our fact sheet. So I just have some questions here. You know, what do we want to include? We have to think about research volunteers. I'm saying that I think all data needs two-source verification, just to make sure that whatever we're saying to the public, we can back up with a document. You know, the statement cannot be something that we think is true.
Or Googled.
Yeah, it's got to be true, and we have to be able to back it up. We have to resist spinning the data to promote our own agendas. Citizens will figure that out and discredit our group. And we can get into the printing later. So, you know, we started the 50 question thing, so we got a lot of good questions. We got a bunch of answers that are also documented. I'm proposing that we're not going to do this in a big group like this, that we select a few people that want to volunteer. I would recommend that the people have different viewpoints. So, you know, I'm just going to say, I know Mark is a big Pinkerton fan. I know Lynn is a big West fan. You know, I'm thinking differences like that, they get together, and so that together they'll form a good fact sheet that's going to make everybody happy. Then, once we have the fact sheet, we set a deadline of, okay, you guys have until this date to get it done. Then we have reviewers. We'll have a group of reviewers. The same thing. Maybe pick 3 people that have different views to review, to make sure now we're presenting it to you reviewers. Does it make sense? You know, we think it makes sense. Does it make sense to you guys? And then give that feedback. And those 2 groups get it hammered out. Go ahead, Mark.
So we're there to get them to sign a poll. If we have a fact sheet with these questions, does that conflict with the 2 choices, choice or no choice? Does that cloud that we're asking for this question? So, and last time we talked, or last meeting, my thought was that we would have these fact sheets. But I'm wondering, does that still work with what we're asking them to sign up for?
So I'm envisioning not questions. I mean, we're asking the questions in our 50 question poll so we know what do we want to get for the answer. I think what we're presenting to the voters are the answers. You know, we're telling them some facts. You know, Manchester did lay off 90 teachers. Manchester did cut their budget.
Backup for why we're even asking the question.
What's that?
This is backup for why we're even standing there, essentially.
Yep.
As opposed to what a lot of us have been doing, which is sort of debating our own position.
Right.
So we want to resist
Did
that.
they lay off 90 high school teachers?
No, what they've done is they actually, they
High school,
eliminated.
you gotta keep it to high school, because that's all.
No, they eliminated 90 courses, classes, it wasn't teachers.
Sorry, yeah. Oh, nice catch.
It wasn't actually, I don't know the actual number, and I don't know if anybody knows the actual number of teachers that they actually laid off at Central.
Oh,
I'll throw it to you.
Yes, district-wide
I know.
is one
It
Right,
is in the
district
board
wide,
meetings though.
but
It is in the board meetings. They've reviewed it on TV, so I've seen it.
But with how many have come back, I mean, the number has changed. You know
Yeah,
what I
they
mean?
did
And
that
then
like a
they've-
month ago on,
So I don't
their
know.
meeting.
Okay, moderator, for a second, we're not gonna answer the questions tonight.
Right.
We're not gonna do it. We could do this all night
Okay.
long with a bunch of different questions. So the
Yeah.
point is, I think tonight, we just need to appoint
Yeah.
and
Sure, I'll
approve
throw it to you if you will.
of maybe 3 people to sit down
Oh, I know
together
the answer.
and work together at formulating the fact sheet.
Can I say one thing?
Then 3, Tom, oh, Tricia has the, go ahead, Tricia.
The net loss in Manchester of teachers is 160, and my site is the Citizens for Manchester Schools, and it's updated as of a week and a half ago.
But we're really only concerned
We're only
with
concerned
Central and
with
West.
2 schools, really.
Football.
They
So
don't
my
have that
question
segregated.
is, right now is, do we really want to get into the Pinkerton, West, and
No.
all that?
No.
I don't think so. I think we should be factual on why we're telling them to pick choice here.
Right.
Manchester, budget was, where it was. They laid off teachers, they cut courses. The budget going into next year is looking the same way. There is data for all that.
Right.
I don't think at this point, if you're just asking them choice, no choice, let's start giving them information on
I think Mark said
Pinkerton,
that.
West, and all that.
Right.
I don't think it's time yet.
Yep.
Anybody else have I
Aye.
think
Well, I
Tom
was
was waiting, no offense.
My thing would
We
be
just can't
exactly
slam
that.
Manchester.
Right, when we,
Right.
when we,
Yeah.
when
No,
we
we're trying
vote
to
on
That's
this,
what
advocate.
just happened.
No, I'm
And
not.
I feel
hey,
sitting here that I'm really not a part of this group, and I'm
Well, you-
kind of sorry that I came to this forum, because you are all on a very different page than people that are supportive of Manchester.
Okay,
And
but
that's
I
why I
don't
said-
think we're bashing Manchester. I think we're stating the facts, that the budget is not doing well, and it's continuing not to do well, and it may not have affected your child this year, or your child this year, and many, many, many other people in Hooksett. But with the path that they're going down, it's going to continue to affect kids. So I'm not saying that I hate Manchester Central or West, and so I'm sorry if it came across as a bashing. I'm just stating the facts. Their budget was not where it needed to be. They had to cut classes, they had to cut
And I
teachers.
totally agree with that, but
So we're being
taking
proactive.
money out of the budget to send kids to other schools also affects that school budget.
But
which
they're
would
not
affect
giving
people
our
in
kids.
Manchester.
Okay, wait, I think that's all really good,
We need to keep focusing.
but we're
You're
gonna
come to
lose
some
our
school
focus.
board meetings, and I'm sorry if it made you feel like you're not want to hear, or you don't belong here. You do belong here, so.
My husband has been on school board meetings, I have usually after work, so.
I, just so everybody knows, I specifically invited Lynn tonight because Lynn is not the only voice in Hooksett that
Right.
expresses the views like Lynn. There are a lot of people that want to continue to send their kids to Central and West. And we need to acknowledge that and accept that, and so I hear what you're saying, Lynn, and I can tell you though, from these people's perspective, they're not bashing, they are just looking at the facts. And the facts don't lie, and unfortunately, Hooksett doesn't have control over the Manchester budget. There's nothing we are gonna do that's gonna change the way they spend money on education in that city. We'd love to, but we don't sit on the board of mayor and aldermen, we don't sit on the school board. We can talk to the school board members all we want, we can talk to the mayor and aldermen, but at the bottom line is their interests lie within Manchester.
And that'll be true with any school we go to.
No, that's not true.
Yes,
No,
it
because
is.
we do
No,
sit
it's
on,
not.
we will be allowed to sit on boards or committees that run the school. We will have a voice in those schools that are interested in a true partnership, that really want us to sit at the table to help them solve problems.
We're always gonna be a donor town until we have our own high school.
Look, I wanna,
That's
can
not true,
I move this,
Pinkerton.
I wanna move this to our vote, that we, as you had said, I hate to step in, but I just wanna say,
No, you're
we're
doing
getting
fine.
off of track here.
Yep.
That we vote to direct whoever we elect to come up with these factual points, to come up with points that are in support of our ballot.
Yep.
And our immediate position, because, the further position is yet to be determined.
Right,
We don't even know where we're gonna be.
right.
So, That's all I would say.
So we're basically choice and no choice.
Choice and no choice, and support it, and give some historical, supported and truthful historical data that supports why we're here today. Why are we all here today?
I mean, to your point, and to Lynn's point, you know, maybe there is mention of the long history that Hooksett has with Manchester. So in other words, that would be on the side of the people that want to stay with Manchester. So we have to give both
Credence to every issue.
both viewpoints and give it fair play, and then the people reading it are the ones that are going to make their own decisions, right? So again, we have to be careful about biasing the fact sheet, okay, this time out.
Well, again, I think what we're talking about is the dollars and cents. If this year, I think that was like a $10 million shortfall in Manchester, that is what it is, you know what I mean? And again, I hope we're not making anybody feel not welcome, because obviously John's son just graduated from West, my daughter just graduated from Central, that's why I got the sweatshirt. But again, like, everybody has their tipping point, and again, it's like the facts are the facts. If the money, like we were just talking about, they're $10 million short, and I think it was 145 teachers throughout the district, and the courses that have changed and all that, those are factual items that we can put in there. And again, on the other side, like John said, that's why I think it's good to have folks kind of coming from two different viewpoints, so that everything's kind of
That's why I think it's very
validated.
important that you're here, Lynn. I mean,
So,
to
yeah.
remind everybody that there are different sides to this issue.
Oh, yeah.
And they all deserve some time,
Yeah.
some face time in front of the voters.
Yeah.
All right, so who would like to volunteer? I'm throwing it out there, a 3-person committee. I think that's enough. 3 people can work together to go through. They can use our 50-question polls, because a lot of the people had some good points out there, and they already have the links to the data that you need. So now we're looking for volunteers. So we'll either find them here tonight, or we're going to find them on our Facebook page. I will warn you, we have 300 members, and just to take our simple poll, we had 16% participate in the last two weeks. So if you think magically we're going to get a bunch of volunteers run up as soon as I put that out there, I'm not sure that's going to happen. And we have a deadline. So far we've agreed we're going to do this. That's a done deal. We're going to get that printed for Tuesday. We have a deadline looming Tuesday. So we have to have the 3 people get together. We have to set a deadline for them of when they have to get the data compiled. So we're not talking about a big thing here, just one sheet of data that's balanced for both positions, choice and no choice, and then a committee of reviewers. So we just have to give those 2 groups time enough to get their jobs done, and then we have to print it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, is it the poster that Miss Berry is working on, right? Is that what those packs are gonna be on, or is it gonna be on a handout?
We were thinking a handout, but I don't know. That's up for discussion.
All right, so whoever's gonna be producing the handout, they're gonna keep it,
Right.
you know, not Monday night.
Exactly. But I think Tom volunteered for printing, is that correct? So if we go with a printed handout that we give to people, and I almost think that's better, because they can, you know, like somebody brought up, when you go to vote, you just want to get in and out. A lot of times you just want to do this, when there's people standing there. So if we can get them in the hand and go, could you just sign one of these, you know? Oh, okay. You know, and quick, but then they can read it later when they get home. Mark, football? Lynn?
Well, I was going to ask you, if you're doing the printing, what's your timetable? When do you?
Just send me a file.
Okay, so
We print.
you
we
would
print
need
thousands
it
of
like
pages.
by Monday by a certain time.
I can print 5,000 pages in
I'm
an
printing
hour.
cards for
maybe,
the
so.
contact for,
Okay.
If somebody can produce a PDF file, you know, a good quality PDF file, you know, I have the ability to print a significant amount. I just need to know what our decision is on. We want to go black and white. I mean, we're going to go black and white or grayscale. We want it on white paper or a colored type of paper. You know, simple paper would be probably easy.
I would say whatever's cheaper to you, right? I mean, we
Yeah.
don't need to break the bank
We
on
have
this.
no budget.
No.
The
I
important
just
thing
want to
is
make
the
sure you
data.
had enough time, you know.
Right.
Yeah, I can print. Yeah, it's like I don't know, 30 pages a minute. I mean, it's.
So Monday night or Tuesday morning, about 2:30 in the morning. You
Yeah.
You good with that?
I'll hit print and I'll go and set up the easy up and walk back down the access road.
it
All right.
really should be Sunday night, early Monday morning.
Well, we'll set the deadlines once we get the people.
I mean, I'll volunteer to assist in that.
So you want to be one of the
I could
originators?
be in probably the second review.
You want to be the reviewer group?
I think I can contribute in that. I think I have the ability, I know, you all know where I stand, but I think I have the capacity to stand in an objective viewpoint.
Yeah.
Is a reviewer just reviewing the data that's there, or are they
Right.
reviewing it in terms of
Making changes.
verifying?
Both.
Oh.
But the first group is gonna provide the links to the data.
Okay.
I mean, I would suggest we maintain some collaboration. I mean, we need to keep it open and collaborate, and then
Yeah.
leave some lines open to share, get some viewpoints from others in the group as we're developing this.
There
We
are
have
a
short-
lot of people that were on that 50 questions. I'm sure one of them that couldn't be here tonight. I know like Jen Finch, and she's a librarian, and you know, there was quite a few people that were. So I'm sure they would be happy to come up with data, but just not be able to come. We just need to put it out there, I think.
Okay, so does anybody else wanna volunteer for one of the groups?
Well, I have information that I can share. I just don't have time to meet with a group this weekend. Because that JSA thing, I've already composed mine. So I have like facts of where I obtained in regards to class size and why I'm presenting the situation that I am. So I would be one that could present facts that were not really to stay. So then we would, and I'm not afraid to say that, but then I think we should have somebody that would say, well, I do want to stay, and these are the facts, and then have one person then that can go either way.
Lynn, do you know anybody that, like, so you know the groups of people that are strongly committed to Central or West? Do you know somebody that would wanna volunteer to present that side in a fact sheet to the voters?
But
And-
I'm
and
not
what are
sure
we
what
talking about here?
facts
If
they're
we-
going to be able to
Yeah.
present.
Yeah.
I thought, so, because it's two sides of the issue that we're presenting?
Again,
Well, my facts are budget, so I guess I'm getting a little bit confused because
Alright, where's the football?
Here it is.
One
Here,
other.
I'm gonna give it to you, and then you can pass it.
No, 'cause
And
I
I'll
think you're
take
really
it.
organizing your thoughts.
So, I'm trying to figure out if we're trying to go for choice here. The people who are attending are looking to support choice. Again, this is the same thing that we had last meeting, which is if you're here and you're against choice, then you know that's what you advocate for. And we've got one voice, and thank you for coming. Two, so two people that I'm aware of, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate you coming because it's important to show up and speak. So it's pretty easy to pick out who can support that. I'll volunteer for choice and to be on that, to put that together and with a group. And we can meet two separate groups because it might be like oil and water. At some point, those will be reviewed. But I'm trying to understand the purpose of the no choice. Now, if we've got volunteers here who are willing to go do that, that's great. And I think
Whenever you're ready.
that's what we'll
I'm
do.
not necessarily no choice. I
Yeah.
want to be part of the choice.
Yeah.
I want
That's-
Manchester to be part of the choice.
Yeah.
I'm not
They're all-
saying that
all schools are
I
part
want
of
to
the
keep
choice
things
with
as
JCA.
is, you know, so
And I don't want my taxes to go through the roof.
Right.
I'm,
Nobody wants
you
that.
know, I just want Manchester to still be a piece of the puzzle.
And
Yeah.
I actually
think
want that
regardless
too.
it is.
So would it be fair to say that we've all sort of been brought to this juncture for, these are the reasons, and that's what we're looking for. Manchester's, these budget issues have come up, and here are the reasons. And we just need to enlighten the voters, that's why we're here, and that's why as voters, we have a decision to make, and we're trying to be strategic about it, instead of being reactive to a problem that's gonna hit us in 6 months, or 8 months, or 12 months. We need to deal with it now, or it's gonna cost us a heck of a lot more money. You know, so there are a lot of issues that we have to address in this, but I don't think we have to go that far and clouding it up with too many facts.
Not yet.
History, here you go, this is why we're here, please vote on our.
We
Yeah.
need to finish what we need to finish now.
I just want to add one thing. One thing you got to understand too is a lot of this is out of our hands. The school board has already put something in motion. So if you really look at it, if it goes through, a mutual dissolving of the contract means Manchester plus. Only if you can advocate strong enough to make sure that you have that push of Manchester. So if you really kind of look at it, there might be an issue where it's forced that way anyways. So those that are on the line of it, you might have to say choice, but just say Manchester Plus. That's why I kept saying, that Manchester Plus, to keep that advocacy for Manchester. And in the end, that's why I say, once you get over this, to understand what everyone else wants, because what you might find out, you might be shocked that if it's a majority says, no, Manchester only. And at that point, a lot of people have to do some self-reflection.
I just think getting to, what's your first name, I'm sorry?
Tom.
Tom, I get into what Tom's saying. I think there are some facts that would be indisputable that are neither supporting one way or the other, but just the facts.
That's why
Again,
we're
so
here.
this much money was taken out of the budget, this many teachers were let go, this many programs were ceased. You know what I mean? And that's
school
not
board is
one way or the other. That's just
agreed to
factual
negotiate
That's
with-
things
all.
that
I
have
think
occurred, and
all
that's
it
why
should
we have
be.
concerns. That's all.
And that's why we're here, right?
Yeah.
Are you volunteering?
Oh man, I got soccer playoffs this weekend. Come on, man.
So when you go to the polls and you're sitting there saying, we'd like you to sign this petition for choice, not no choice, the facts that we're there for are obvious. It's the stuff you're reading in the news. If we start to say, well, we need to collect facts to support staying, well, now that's a bias, and we said we're not going to have bias. We're going to go for facts. So the bias would be, well, if it's a great school and I went there, and whatever whatever they may be, we're looking for facts for why are we standing there.
Why do we need a fact sheet? I'm just talking, because I think we're all going back and forth here. Time is short, we're having problems finding volunteers. What if we don't have a fact sheet for this petition on Tuesday? How is that going to reflect on us?
I think we have to have the fact sheet in order so that, if for talking points, people are going to ask us questions, why are you here? Well, they lost $10 million out of their budget. All the facts of why we're standing there, why are we here in this room, the facts that have happened that brought us to this point. I think it's important to keep the focus on that. Otherwise, if you start bringing up facts in the pros and the cons, well, then it's more like, well, we have an option here. We really
Does
don't.
it have to be a handout? That's what I'm saying. Does it
No,
have
no,
to be
it
a handout?
can be
I think we're making it bigger than it needs
I
to
was gonna
be.
say-
Okay.
So guys, I think literally you could have maybe 10 bullet points, maybe? Small amount, just boom, 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 like say the big ones, like all the big ones,
Five,
five
big
or 10,
print.
the things that everybody's concerned about, and things that are dollar numbers or numbers of teachers, whatever, the things, again, the primary things why everybody's here. I don't think it's not 30 things, it's maybe 8 to 10 things.
We keep it.
Can we do
Keep it small.
posters? I mean, do we really need something for people to take home with them, or is it just
They need
posters
to be reading it as they
hanging
walk
on our
by.
tent?
Oh, now I want to talk to you. Oh, what do you
Right.
mean they cut 90 classes this year?
Right.
I didn't know that.
I mean, I'm not sure if the
Yeah,
sheet
poster.
taken home with them is beneficial.
I agree, but so back to the point though, the pros and the cons. I would vote that we state the facts of why we're looking to exit or have Manchester and other options to keep it unbiased. So I would like to have the group vote on that we state facts as to the problems that Manchester is facing that have compelled us to be here, not the reasons we should
I
stay.
think it's a good point.
So can we have a vote?
Well, hold on, we have a little more discussion.
I think a lot of people at the polls are just gonna wanna walk by. Some people aren't gonna wanna talk, cause they're gonna think you're trying to recruit them to do something. So if you give them a piece of paper, and maybe at the bottom of the piece of paper has our Facebook, so that it directs people to go learn more about it. Because most people are much bolder behind their computer screen than they are gonna be sitting face to face with you. So if it says that.
Todd is going to make up the cards,
And
business cards.
I don't mean to avoid your vote for a minute, but there is something on the agenda that I need to ask. It says, should school board members remain impartial, because I have to leave to go pick up my children from their dad. And
Okay,
I'm
so-
quartered to be there at 8 o'clock, so.
So, does anybody else, any more discussion on the subject right now?
The quick thing I just tell Stacey is once I think it's a couple things, like I like the handoff thing, but I also like the idea if we have, like, again, we have an easel that's like the choice to no choice, like, with the clipboards and stuff, and then we have one additional post, which Stacey said you make one, just the 10 bullet points. You know what I mean? Just list it, boom, 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 and like you say, that's all, and then you have the handout too.
What are the two posters, choice and no choice?
So I would be making 3, I'm assuming.
It's just listing the choices that we have written up there.
Oh, so you written,
Yeah.
just a big,
Just
so
a
it's
big
easy
blown
to
up,
see.
and it says, you know, the choice with Manchester
So-
Plus and Manchester, or whatever.
Can we go back to the vote?
For that list?
For, I would like to have a vote that we have the facts only and not a pros and cons of
Yep.
why we should go and why we should stay.
Yep.
Just the facts of
I think we're in
the budget, over whatever it is.
Yeah.
Whatever the facts are that we come
Budget,
up
the
with.
class size, all things that
Can
you
we
can
vote on
talk.
that?
Can we
please?
keep the facts to just the high school though, because when you start saying.
Yeah, we'll keep
Yes.
it.
No, it should be just high school.
Right, so let's bring
We're
it to
not
a voice
concerned with
vote.
elementary.
We're gonna vote, basically just present the facts, why, basically what got us here. It's mostly budget facts and what's going on in Manchester with the budget, as it reflects on the high school.
Budget, teachers, class size,
Right.
etc.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. So let's, to talk to Tricia's point, we'll move, we won't even see what we got going on here, we'll come back to it. Where is that, Tricia?
On page 3.
Okay. Okay, so we're talking about basically having presence at the polls, and so I just want to bring this up. I also asked the school board themselves and the superintendent to think about this, but it's just the idea of impartiality. You know, Tricia's been at these meetings now. She provides a lot of good data that, you know, we don't know, and it's public information, so she's not violating anything. My concern is if Tricia or Dave or any of the other people on the school board all of a sudden start participating in the sense that they start leaning in one way and the public out there sees them leaning one way, they could be perceived as not being impartial.
Yeah.
And so they're there to represent the majority of Hooksett residents, whatever that is. You know, we're thinking one way of how we think the majority is, but we could be all surprised. And so my concern, and I just wanted us to all generally talk about it, is does anybody have a concern about board members, school board members being impartial or remaining impartial, or does it not matter?
So when Tricia's sitting on the school board, she's a school board member. When she's sitting here, she's not.
Parent.
She's a parent. So she can advocate for her kid just as much as anybody else in the room. It shouldn't even be called into question.
Aye.
Agreed. And I'd also state in the procedure manual that I signed when I became a school board member, it says I am technically only a school board member when I am sitting at a meeting on official school board business. So when I leave the school after a meeting, I'm not a school board member. And anyone who elected me or was involved when I was elected to the school board, I was very clear that I thought a Hooksett High School was in the best interest of Hooksett. I still truly believe that. However, we cannot afford that. So I think having options for our children so that it is in the best interest of the child is what is necessary, and nobody would.
So I'm just, I want to make the point that we as a group then will defend that. So my concern is later on down the road when Tricia or Dave or anybody else that may take part in our meetings, and now they are put to a vote. And let's just say they vote one way. It doesn't matter what position they take when they do a vote. And citizens start complaining because they say, I saw her sitting at those crazy people's meetings and, you know, talking about these issues before. So she's slanted. You know, she's got her own opinion. And I just want to make sure we're ready to defend that because she, like you're just saying, she's a parent.
Yeah, no.
She has a right to be here.
I wish all the other members were sitting here.
I
Are you kidding
defend it
me?
as long as the school board members that are here are participating in concert with any code of conduct that they have. And it sounds like she's already researched that and she's in compliance with it. And so therefore, my vote is to support their participation, again, as long as they're acting in concert with any policies that are governing their
Probably shouldn't be
membership
standing
on the
there
board.
signing the petition though.
Yeah, that I do agree
Yeah,
with
so that was, I mean, that was my concern, is if a school board member's out there with the clipboard, it could be perceived by the public as not such a great thing. You know?
I suppose that would.
But I think ultimately that's her decision.
That's Tricia's decision.
That's not our decision to make for her.
Yeah, that's our humble opinion. Okay?
If I may.
Go ahead so you don't late.
Mark?
I have to go support my son and pick him up, so see you guys later. Take care, everybody.
Mark Neville, if I may, there is some standards in Robert's rules, and I know you don't apply Robert's rules to these meetings, but it is a standard in Robert's rules and Riggins rules as standards of operation for meetings, is that board members should not be portrayed one way or the other prior to an actual vote. So I would be concerned. I totally agree that she's a parent and it's okay for her to be here. I'm saying for the appearance of propriety, perhaps if there was another meeting for other perspectives, that she should also attend those as well. Dave, Mr. Pearl, was not here on purpose. He did not feel that he felt comfortable to be here tonight, which is why he didn't want to have to answer questions out of the school board. Because whether you like it or not, if a tree falls on a school board member's house or a budget committee member's house, the perception is, the title sticks with you no matter what, okay? So, although I'm okay with her listening here, I think she should still be really strictly regarded as to have impartiality once she sits on that board chair. That's all my point.
Football? Who's there? Go ahead, Tom. Pretend you're holding it.
Ooh, I just totally lost. I think that this little thing, this meeting that we have, is for the good of the community. I don't think that me sitting here, or you sitting here, or you sitting here has any relativity on what we can make the school board do or not. And I think that all the school board members should be sitting in here because this is the community talking. She wants to say she needs help for her kid. I need help for mine. She likes where hers is. He wants a different choice. So I think that was kind of a...
If I may, the petition is going to the school board. It's going to be presented to the school board.
Eventually.
So any participation prior to the petition being brought to the school board would be inherently perceived as whatever inherently kind of slanted.
Okay, respect.
By certain people.
I think we've maybe spun it enough.
Maybe.
Tricia can make her choices, we're not gonna decide for her.
She's a taxpayer, she's a
So,
parent.
let's-
If we do a
let's table it and
petition,
leave that other
I
stuff.
don't see why Dave can't sign a petition if he wants.
Oh, he can sign, but I don't think she should be collecting.
And that's, I'm sure that she'll
She probably doesn't
respect
want
her
to as well.
position and
Because then
make that
she's gonna
choice.
be attacked with questions about the school board, so.
I would hide.
I just don't want you to feel unwanted here because you are wanted here, so.
You know, lucky enough in this case, they already took a vote, they're pursuing
Right.
a negotiation for a mutual
Right.
settlement and whatever, so the reality of it is, in this case, the petition's really to say, what's the pulse of the
community.
electorate.
School board's already moving
Right.
forward.
This
So it would
current
be wrong
petition is
if I-
actually an
because I
extension
don't
of the
wanna-
school board vote.
I don't want to bring any negativity or any question to the group. I tried to provide information that I know.
Agree.
That's
to the
perfect.
group. Sometimes I don't have, like I gave you the city charter, I don't have
Thank you.
time to read the whole thing. I know it's there. I've presented citizens for Manchester schools. They have great facts. If we need what their source is, I know enough people in the group that they would give us the source. I will decline to be at the polls because I will have my 2 kids with me all day. But I will drop off drinks and hot chocolate depending on the weather, which is something Todd started when I ran for school board. He brought me a drink and lunch, and then when he ran, I did the same thing, so.
Well, thanks for coming.
Thank you,
Thank
Tricia.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tricia.
Sorry I have to leave.
That's okay. So I'd like to bring up one more point before we lose everybody. I was kicked out of the Facebook group and for not numbering my questions properly. I won't get into other issues, but I think I'm not gonna rejoin the Facebook group unless I know from somebody that I've offended them, and I will apologize to you. I wanna understand that if I have personally offended you. But if I haven't, if nobody's got an issue, then I wanna be back on the group. But I don't want to have one individual with the power to kick anybody off. It has to be by more than one individual, or I won't join.
So Mark, before you got here tonight, we already talked about that. And Tom has already said he'll do printing. Are we printing a sheet still, or are we just going with posters? Sheet to give away?
I think we
No, I
should
thought
have,
we're just giving out the cards.
Cards is just, that's just for,
And can't we post something that would have that fax, access to
Can
the
we put it
fax
on the
when
cards?
they go to the site?
It's only a few points.
Yeah, put it on the back of it, I guess.
on the back of the card?
Yeah.
Can you do that?
Yeah, sure.
All right, that's great.
Walk away with the address and
That's
the data.
perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. So, there you go.
It's easier
Tom.
to manage.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so we're
So
going.
you have an idea, you already have an idea of what you wanna use for facts, or you want other people to give you
Oh,
ideas?
feel free, send them along and,
So I
I'll
would-
try to filter it into a document and then post it.
So after this meeting, Mark, I think it would be good if you just made a post, a general post that says, okay, everybody, we had a meeting and this is what we voted on. I am going to compile a list of facts. We have a bunch already that everybody's been playing the 50 questions game, but if you have anything you want, this is your time, and give a deadline. You know, I'd like you to get them into me by X.
Okay.
And then from there, what's a reasonable deadline for Mark to post his first draft?
Sunday, Saturday?
What's his, ask him.
Yeah.
We need
Yeah.
a printed document, I mean, that's the thing, the printer needs.
Right.
We wanna review it, so you need a day to review,
Data change.
and so,
Todd, when do you need it to print? I guess that's our deadline.
I like to do it on Sunday, but
I can have a draft Saturday, probably around lunchtime, filtered out and give till Sunday night to review it, the review cycle, and then it's yours to print.
Okay, so if we could just put that information when you first post.
Yep.
Here are our deadlines. I'm going to have something by this time. Todd needs to print it by this time, so there'll be this review cycle. So if you have comments, you gotta get them in at this time, and we don't need, major changes at the last moment. And, feel free. If people are giving them to you and it's after your deadline, you can ignore them.
And,
Yeah.
and these points are just sticking to
There's
the
only so
reason
many
why we're
facts.
here,
It
the
shouldn't
budget,
be
the
that
teachers,
Right.
I mean, we're not getting into all the other
No.
stuff
No,
yet.
this
Nope,
is just the
just-
facts.
Just the
Yeah,
fact.
we-
Budget was short, 90 courses were cut.
All right, so
Just
do we have to vote on that, or we're good?
I think we're good.
We're good.
I don't think we need to vote on that.
Okay, so we're good. Data sheet instead, it's gonna go on the cards that Todd's gonna print on the back. That's awesome. Great idea.
So Tom's not printing the fact sheets.
No.
Delete.
Okay,
So do we want 2 posters saying choice, no choice?
yes.
To get their attention to at least
Yep.
look?
Maybe
Is that all we
something-
wanted to say,
Well, we
choice,
want
no choice?
Hooksett High School students, choice, no choice.
So
We don't want
3?
them to think that way they're advocating birth control.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
right.
Yeah.
More like
we don't-
choice plus.
Hold on,
We
football,
gotta go back
football.
to that.
She's got the football.
We don't wanna limit to high school, because the kids that are in grammar school and younger school, we want their input too.
Oh, but it's just high school we're talking about though.
Right, but if we just do high school, then they're gonna,
School
But
choice.
that's all we're talking about.
So,
You mean parents will
So
walk on by?
Parents won't look at it.
High school contract
Th-
choice?
parents of younger children will
Yeah,
walk by.
no, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So how do we draw everybody over then?
Just-
Education.
parents see high school or school choice, they're gonna
School
park right up.
choice?
Just school choice and
You're not
choice and no
supposed to have
choice,
them reading the paper.
Maybe a banner across the top and then a left and a right.
There might be people that don't know what's going
High
on.
school choice.
Yeah,
and-
because if
Choice
you've got a
could be Western
kindergartner
Central.
right now, you have no clue.
Well, I think if you say school choice, and then when they get
Yeah, then you
over,
can
then it's gonna
educate
say, oh, high school, and by then you've drawn them in, so.
them. Yeah, okay, this,
Right, I just
that's when you
wanted to
start the
make it
conversation.
clear.
This affects your
Yeah.
child. I know he's only 8 years old, but whatever they decide now is gonna affect your child, so you have a vested interest in this.
So I'm gonna make 3 then. One's going to be at the front saying, hooks, high school?
How about just to draw them in, Hooksett school choice?
We need to schedule a follow-up meeting before Tuesday for people who are gonna stand at the polls and what they're gonna say. That should be Monday, if possible, Monday evening, ahead of it. So that we can review the questions that we all agreed on and people are educated about what the message is.
Yep.
and it's
Whatever you wanna put in there,
Draft
do you wanna say
some
the
talking
same
points and
thing,
hand
if you
out
wanna
some
have,
talking points so everybody can be
I don't
sort
know
of
where you
rehearsed.
can
Yep,
have.
and that should be
I don't know if
maybe a
it's
half hour
like-
meeting, an hour
Yeah.
tops.
Right.
The library's available for the November 5th, you want me to book
Yeah.
here?
Go ahead and book an hour, just to be
Yeah,
sure.
an hour would be good if you could, I'm not, so I'm available, unfortunately, it's early for me, 5 to 6, I've got work and then I've got an event that I'm going to afterwards, so I need to bookend it somewhere in there. Can anybody else do 5 to 6, people who are volunteering on
For
Monday
what, I'm sorry, I missed that.
for
For
talking
Mon-
points?
I can't do 5, it's too early.
And
Monday,
I
you
have to
said?
actually leave work early to do that, but, or we can do it Sunday, late Sunday.
We can virtually
Sunday would work
post.
better.
We'll do a webcast. We'll do a
Yeah,
web-
we could do
Do a
I
WebEx.
can do a, I have, go-to-meeting, I can do a go-to-meeting.
And people could call in.
So let's do a go-to-meeting on Sunday night.
It's a good idea.
What time are you thinking, Cindy?
What's good?
There's no Patriots, so.
8?
I would, yeah, I mean, I have, not that anybody cares, but I have my daughter's birthday, so 7 or 8 would be better for me, but.
So what are we doing Sunday?
And can you put that on the website on how to do that?
That's what I was just like, what are we doing?
You can do them at work, kinda log in.
It's like a conference call.
Yeah.
It's
You don't
a
have,
video conference,
Yeah.
You'll use your internet browser.
So I can't be in my PJs?
Well.
Well, you can, but just wear a t-shirt.
I blaze them with my PJs on.
All right, so let's just plan for Sunday night, 8 o'clock, our meeting. It'll be virtual. Mark will send out the instructions on how to do that. So probably send the instructions out ahead of time.
Yeah, and leave yourself a good 10 minutes ahead of time. You have to download a file, and it always takes longer.
Maybe we'll prep people. We'll say, do this part now, and if anybody has any problems, get back to us, and then we'll go from there.
Can I just ask one thing?
Yep.
Are we clear on what it is as far as, this
Yes.
and who's
Yes.
printing those and we're
Todd.
alright, we all
Todd.
know what, and it's just gonna have
Business
lines?
cards.
no.
No, no, no,
This
no.
you're-
decided we
I'm
weren't gonna hand out.
We're not
We're
doing
gonna
this
have a-
at all.
Right, we're gonna have a clipboard,
Not the petition part.
Right, I know, but the clipboard part, she's getting the clipboards and,
and he's printing the forms.
okay.
Well, yeah, I'll
Choice, no choice, and then just signatures.
Okay. All right, so we're basically at the end of our time.
One last point.
Oh.
So can we see a preview of the posters? So like a PDF file of what they are.
Well, right, but that's what I'm trying to get, do we
Not gonna
really
have
need,
anything on it,
I mean, if we're doing hooks
The
at
banners.
school choice, I mean, I'm literally gonna buy poster boards and make those, I mean, banners, I don't have
So
time
it's
to do that.
it's going to be hooks at school choice, and then choice and no choice. Very simple.
So you want one that says hooks at school choice, and then have another poster that says choice, no choice?
I think you should have a banner across, and then
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not very
I just have
artistic,
to-
but
Me neither.
I mean, how about just, instead of getting choice in there twice, how about just something like this, hooks at education,
Mhm.
choice, no choice. So hooks at
Okay.
education draws them over,
Or hooks
and
at
choice,
schools, you know,
hooks at schools, hooks at education, something
Hooks
like
at
that.
And I think they should both be the same thing. If you say hooks at school choice, that's just gonna be something for, hopefully we're gonna have one person at the table and then others that are gonna go away from the table. So if we have voters that wanna avoid where we are, which they do, I can be over there with a thing that says, ooh, hooks at school choice. Drag them back in. The poster doesn't really have to say what it's about. The poster just gives me the ability to go nab them.
Yeah.
Again, I gotta caution you guys, you can't obstruct the voters, okay? You can't get in their face.
Yeah, so I don't think we
If
can
they're
do
gone by you, they've gone by you,
Right,
okay? And the moderator will stop you from doing that.
Yeah.
Probably stop the whole petition. You
So-
can't obstruct.
Mark, are those type of rules posted anywhere that I could get them and then post them on the group?
Well,
Do you know?
No, they're kind of verbal.
they're kind of, yeah.
There's
So
an
somebody in the
RSA.
morning will
Can
get
somebody
some
get
instruction.
those, and we can have them in a conference?
They're basic
As part of
election
our-
rules.
Yeah.
can't
You don't
obstruct
wanna
them.
make people not, be uncomfortable, otherwise they won't come
No,
to
you
work.
don't
You
get-
can't
I mean,
drag them
You
in.
can invite them
I
and
cringed
ask
when I heard
them
drag them in.
Well, she's already.
Well, no, I just meant like if we were at a table here and I was standing over there with a
Get them to write an
sign.
email
I'm
with
saying
rules.
you can't, if they're walking, you gotta let them walk. You can,
Right.
Sorry.
But we can have
show
different
something out, but you can't
locations.
physically get in front of them.
Right, but we can have different locations.
Yeah, nobody's going to stop them. If he
I
sends
don't
us a
wanna
block
open a
of
can of
people-
worms asking
Hey.
for rules.
Okay, hold on, let's go one at a time.
One thing, if Alyssa just gets an email from this guy saying, hey, here's the rules, and we have that with us, then we're protected. And as long as we discuss that in our meeting, then we're protected.
You ready, or?
I just is that opening a can of worms?
No, this
No.
time, because you need to know, you need to
It'll be
educate
fine.
the people there.
Yeah, Don Riley's just gonna tell you, you're gonna stay over a certain point.
Okay.
And it's, we got almost 1,000 signatures just by saying, just yelling out,
Yeah.
the petition. You gotta have a hook.
You had a lot of media coverage beforehand as well, so.
Yeah, but I think the school thing is
It's
out there.
done in
It's
that.
on the,
Okay.
it's out there. I think
Right.
you'll get some people. But then you gotta get people that just wanna get in and out.
Right.
Okay, I just want to run through these real quickly. Todd, can we postpone till next meeting, your discussion, your 50,000-foot view?
Yeah, sure.
Would that be fine?
That's
Okay, is everybody okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're gonna wait till next meeting.
Well, that's the problem.
What?
The library is booked.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
For when?
Well, I mean, our crunch right now is to get this stuff for the
Okay.
polls, so we don't really need a meeting right away, you know what I mean?
Maybe first week of December?
Yeah. You know,
Does
we'll-
the 50,000-foot view help us with our presentation?
No,
I almost think it would have helped us trim this down to 2 choices, right?
yeah,
Yeah, your graph helped us,
right,
and we just did
Oh, the
that.
graph that you put on Facebook?
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
it's just,
We're just gonna talk to that tonight. All right, so open discussion, we're gonna table that, if people don't mind, till our next meeting.
Well, we should probably get a next meeting on it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm just gonna, okay, November 29th is a Thursday, so that's the week after Thanksgiving. That's the last week in November.
Yeah, okay, I think that's good.
And Thursday, December, oh, there's nothing going on December 5th here, so, yeah.
We can get the bigger one?
Yeah, we get the bigger one in November also.
I would say November, because people see December and they go.
Yeah, Christmas
Yeah.
shopping,
Okay,
Yeah.
we wanna do November 29th?
I think so.
Okay.
Okay. I have Dave Ryan, I don't know if everybody knows Dave Ryan, he's the principal of Nashua North High School. He was elected or voted principal, New Hampshire Principal of the Year, and he was also one of 3 finalists for 2013 MetLife NASSP National High School Principal of the Year. Well, he lives here in Hooksett, and I just thought it would be nice to have him come talk to us about basically running a high school, the issues he sees, trends he's seeing, and basically an answer, question and answer position, or question and answer period that everybody could just ask him questions that are on their mind about, you know, what should we be looking for in these schools that we are touring with our kids? You know, what do you
When
think?
were these tours published?
They're
No.
not.
We just did, a lot of people just
Self-driven.
called on their own.
Self-motivated.
So I just want to put it to a vote tonight. I'd like to invite him to our next meeting to talk to us, just to give us a perspective of a high school principal. So does anybody want to discuss it? Throw it out there? You want to bring it?
Is it germane to what we're looking at? I mean, is it?
We're looking at different high school options. And here's an administrator that lives in Hooksett that has a pretty good perspective on running a high school, you know, academic programs, sports programs. It's not one that we're considering, which I think is good because he's not biased to come to Pinkerton or come to West or come to Bow, you know what I mean? He's just more like the educational perspective.
Okay, so we should vote on them.
Yeah, I would say.
So we'll put it to a vote. All in favor of inviting Dave Ryan to our next meeting to talk, some talking points about high school? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Nay.
Dave will not be invited.
I mean,
Sorry,
he's a resident, he can come and participate.
Right.
if he wants.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna invite him to talk to us, so he can attend anytime, but,
Does he have kids?
I'd rather have-
yeah, he does, he has an 8th grader.
Is he going to
Where do
Nashville?
they go?
I don't know where he's going.
That'd be interesting, you know.
Some other teachers at West.
Yep.
Oh, okay, what?
More.
Okay, that wraps up the meeting. Does anybody have anything else they wanted to talk about?
I just had a suggestion, and I don't know if we ever get to this point, maybe have a panel of the students from the high schools come in and talk to us, because we've been asking people for their opinions, but maybe if we actually hear students from West Central, Pinkerton, Pembroke, I don't know about that, but to have a panel of students come in to talk.
I've tried to get that in front of Collie. I have kids that love Central and I wanted them to go talk to the kids so that they're not scared at school. So I could definitely, I have 2 young ladies that I know already up to the table will do it.
Yeah, so I didn't know if that's something we would want to hear to help us.
I think as a
I also
parent, it
feel
was
it's a
wonderful.
parent's job to be educating their kids like this, you know? Not our job.
I mean, I did put the poll out there, inviting college kids, so these are kids that are 18 and older, who have gone through the Manchester school system, but I'd really love to get some that have gone through other school systems, so I'm hoping through Facebook, like our kids will be able to reach out to kids that have gone to Bedford or gone to Pinkerton or,
Well, what I was gonna ask you, when you were asking that question, were you looking for Hooksett kids that have gone to these other districts, or are you looking for, when you said Bedford or Pembroke, are you looking for a Bedford resident going through Bedford, or are you looking for a Hooksett resident going through Bedford? That wasn't clear
Yeah,
when you
I
said
mean,
other districts.
well, but to be honest with you, from my 50,000 foot view, again, I had no problem with other residents beyond Hooksett. You know, I thought that was a pretty rigid rule, but we decided collectively that we didn't want Manchester people. So by saying that, we're saying we don't want people outside of Hooksett joining our group. So these people
Right,
that would
that's what I
be
was
Bedford
asking.
residents, they wouldn't be allowed to join.
And I think what I was gonna say is, because I think you would get different answers. I think you would get from a Bedford student who went all the way through Bedford and Bedford High School would probably have a different
I totally agree.
perspective and than a sending district
Totally
student.
agree.
You know what I mean? So,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
I don't think it really matters, because I don't think Manchester School District is in the same place right now
It was
that they
last
were.
year.
I've been a teacher in Manchester, I am currently a teacher in Manchester, I've been working for the system for 17 years. It has been a slow decline with a rapid decline this past year. And so you can't compare kids who are, you know, who have been through and are in their early 20s to kids going through now. It's not the same district.
Okay.
It's not the same circumstances.
I think we're gonna get some output at this poll, and I think we need to assess from that output the direction, and rather than, you know, collecting information, we should collect information, I'm gonna say we're not, but we should also have, you know, an action, start to figure out what we're gonna funnel down to here, especially looking at your graph, Todd. As we start to look at that graph, if the decision from the poll says we support, you know, choice, well then now what is that choice? And that's what we need to sort of wrap our heads around. And that's I think, you know, the parents need to be involved in it. I don't really like the concept of bringing kids into that. Sorry.
That's okay. I can't catch it. I would love to allow you to have 5 or 10 minutes at the end of a discussion like this and not sell me either way, but just
What are the facts that you see?
just show us what, you know, you've been there for 17 years. I didn't know that you taught at Manchester.
I teach in an elementary school
But-
in Manchester.
Yeah, but I don't even,
Still part of the district.
that's part of the district. So that would be, in my opinion, a nice light here for the group at some point.
Comfortable doing that?
I don't know
I'm
if-
very comfortable sharing with you what I shared with all the school board members, is that we moved to Manchester, we moved from Manchester last year to Hooksett, and this is my 17th year teaching in Manchester. I teach at one of the better elementary schools in Manchester. I teach at Smith Road, and I also taught at McDonough, which was not as nice of a school at catchment area. But when I came to Hooksett with my children and went and toured the schools, I was in complete awe. I didn't realize how deprived the students in Manchester were till I saw what Hooksett had available to them. And I was blinded as a teacher for a lot of years because I was just doing my job and I was working with the limited resources I had, and I thought this is just how schools are because I've only worked in Manchester. And when I saw the iPads and the computer labs and all of these things that I've never had as a teacher had access to, I felt sad for the students of Manchester. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here tonight, is because I feel like in Hooksett we pay higher taxes and we have a higher expectation for education, and we uphold that in Hooksett, and then they go to Manchester and it goes down. And I don't think that's right. I think that Manchester needs to be at the standard that we're at, and they're just simply not, in my opinion. And I would have never known that had I not moved to Hooksett, but it really opened my eyes a lot.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Did you?
No, go ahead.
I just have to agree. I mean, and it's almost the same reaction. You know, we always knew there were outside schools for high school, but you know, there's a lot of tradition going to Manchester, and I just remember the first day we stepped in for the tour at Pinkerton, and we were just amazed. You know, there was a group of maybe 10 parents. We went down, amazed at the facility, amazed at all of the offerings that they had, from soup to nuts. you want to be a welder, you want to be an automotive technician, you want to study the highest classes in calculus or architectural engineering. They had it all there. And they had just so much to offer, and it's the same feeling. I know exactly what you're talking about. You're like, oh my God, I didn't realize schools had this much. You know, got a similar sense when we went to Bo. There was just so much there to offer these kids, and I'm thinking, these kids are lucky. And I also at the same time thought about the Hooksett kids, and I said, we are lucky that we have a choice.
Yeah.
Because again, working side by side with the kids at West and the parents at West is they don't have a choice. And the same sad feeling. Point of order, we're ready to go?
Do you have
the alarm code? You wanna?
No.
Anybody else got a point? We're ready to go?
I do have one quick point. The week before school started, I was at Central about 4 times, a week and a half before school started. The line was out the door, past Abe Lincoln, with parents registering their kids. Manchester residents, transient group, we have a lot of different ethnicities, and that is one bonus to being at Central that you'll never get at Pinkerton, Bedford, Bow. You got 82% white in the city of Manchester, 95 to 97% in the other communities. That makes a difference. It makes a difference how much money you have to teach, and it makes a difference how much Hooksett has to teach. And it's important. I think the kids like it. They like knowing that there's a whole bunch of different kinds of kids.
There was Black, Chinese,
You
all
can.
kinds of
Just
people
to go
attending,
along,
so
no,
I
I
mean,
was told you shouldn't. It's
Why?
not right to generalize like that.
Because
The
no one's
numbers
saying
are
Center's
there.
bad,
Oh, no,
so
I agree with the facts, but to state that,
it's just
I
the
would
everybody
budget, the
appreciates
money,
it
it's
is
not
wrong.
there.
All right, so I'd like to bring the meeting to a close. We can stick around and discuss if you want. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you everybody for coming. Thank